Greetings. Welcome to the Midnight Society. Yeah, sorry, we're gonna go with this one's Midnight Society. Midnight Society, half Cheeto, will watch party. Uh, as you can see, the bat has joined the cat once again.
Yes,
We are the
indeed.
cat and the bat. Right. I know. I think we should actually make a game out for the Midnight Society. Is find the Midnight Society. Where is it at?
It's
Um,
everywhere, man.
it is everywhere. So
Great.
the Midnight Society, and to our special guest, special returning guest. This is our third. This is our third. This is our third show.
Third watch party.
Michael.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always a
Man,
blast.
so much fun. So much fun. Last time, for those who may have missed that, but we do have a replay. We watched One Ranger that was directed by Jesse V. Johnson and
Mhm.
starred Thomas Jane, who also starred in Michael's movie, The Hunter's Moon. Now we're going to be talking about Michael. This is your first. This is your. This is your first screenplay that you sold while you were in Hollywood, or your first screenplay that got made.
It's really neck and neck with this one in a Spanish horror film called Sin Origin. I don't remember which one. I think one might have been bought first, and then one came out first out of the two. But it's neck and neck. So I think this was the first one that was definitely optioned and bought. Like this was my first forte into um, yeah, like something that was getting made that was not self-produced. I did web series and things like that and shorts. So this
Right.
was the
Right.
first venture
He did
into
that.
show
He did
production.
that TV series too. He did a Death Squad.
That was after, yeah, but even the Hangman was before that too. So
Oh,
Hangman happened, and then after Hangman, like I said, Sin Origin was like kind of neck and neck with Hangman, and it was just a matter of which one was going to come out first. Hangman had like the development stage of Hangman was like 4 or 5 years of back and forth. Like it was originally supposed to be found footage. The script was originally a found footage script, and it was in development so long that found footage kind of came and went, and then since now has come back again. But and it's had different variations of cast. Like John Travolta was originally attached, or at least circling for the
Mm.
Pacino role. There were numerous directors that came and went, or we had conversations with. Like Chuck Russell at one point was mentioned, and we had conversations with Chuck. The guy who did, whose name's escaping me right now, Travis something or other, who did the Doom movie with who did the Doom movie with Alex Garland's script, and then Travis something or other, who did Vantage
Mm.
Point, the director. I can't think of his name right now.
oh God, I remember Vantage Point.
Remember Vantage Point? It's the director. He's
Yeah,
a British director, so he was
that was a hell
in
of a ride.
yeah, and then he did not Doom. Sorry, it was Dread, the Dread remake. Sorry, Dread remake. Um, Whoever the director was for that, Travis something or other. So he
Pete,
was
Tra- Pete Travis.
Pete Travis. Thank you,
Thank you.
Travis something. Thank you, Al. So he was going to do it at one point. Yeah, it's had so many variations. Then it kind of died, and then got I guess it's a tale of perseverance for not only the filmmakers and along the process, but the film itself. It was a process of a lot of love and a lot of patience and perseverance to
Oh
get
my God,
age.
it's insane. It's insane. And
Well, the
she
amount of
actually Al, tell us a little bit about about as far as a movie being made. Tell us a little bit about your interactions with David Heavener and his project. Wasn't he working on one for just years and years, and that was just
He's been working on this show, I think now for about 2 or 3 years, and there has been a total of one episode out.
wow, yeah, it happens. It's hard.
It does.
Really
It
is
does.
hard. It really is hard. That's why after Hangman, and especially after Hunter's Moon, I don't ever talk bad about anything that's ever been produced. I
Oh,
don't.
it's the craziest thing ever to get a movie
The
made.
miracle, right, Al? Just to get
Absolutely.
anything.
It's insane the amount of stuff that needs to happen. It's mind-boggling, and people have no earthly idea.
No idea.
No.
And then even like, and I talked to actors about this before too, like you don't get to put like an asterisk next to the film itself, like saying, oh, this is why this is like this. And it's like, or this was out of my hands, or this happened because of budget or time or whatever. Like, and so you see these movies and people online just rip them apart. And, oh, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. And I'm like, really? Really? Is it the worst movie you've ever seen? That's my first take. But my second take is it's like a miracle for something to get made from page to finish to distribution. And even if it's self-distributed through Amazon, it's a miracle. So I just tip my hat to anyone that gets it made. I don't care what the budget, I don't care if it's $5,000 or 5,000,000, 100,000, whatever, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter what the budget is. It's a miracle, as you can just attest to, Al. Like, it's hard. TV shows, movies, like now and
except
ever.
for Killer Kong. Except for Killer Kong, we can't get that. I think that costs like $27 to make.
Well, then that's okay. Give me one, gents. Give me 1 second. I just have to take care of one thing. Keep going. I'm just
go for it.
Literally a minute.
Do what you gotta do.
So, Al, so is he still trying to get that TV show off the ground? Was that his pilot episode?
I believe he's still filming. Yes, I believe. I don't know if the second episode's ever come out. I do know it. I do know he was trying to work on it. And when Gareth and I talked to him, I believe he was actually on set filming the show. So, and that was what, a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Let's see. Anthony's here. Anthony, how are you?
T-Betty's in the house. How's it going, T-Betty?
T-Betty. Where's P-Betty at?
Vanessa?
She's sitting on your side. Oh, I see how. I see how it's going.
Vanessa.
Everybody's gonna hang over at the Al house.
She says hello, Patrick. She says hello, Patrick.
Oh. I love that everyone's like, it's here. Oh, that's right. That's all right. Well, good, because I was sitting there wondering, like, God, I better have more than 5 people watching this. And like, Al's got people.
We got Anthony in the house. Hey, hello, Anthony. How's it going?
Yep. And Sue.
There we go.
I gotta watch her new one. She just dropped it. They're historians. They're sort of like, they sort of remind me of, the more I think about them when I go watch their videos. Do you ever remember that show called The Librarians? They just got done rebooting it.
They rebooted The Librarians?
They did, really. Okay.
The Noah Wiley, was it Noah Wiley? Is that show?
No, Noah Wiley's actually doing The Pit now. He's gonna make a couple he's supposed to make like I know he's producing it. He might make an appearance. But the only regular person from the first show is Christian Kane, who played Jacob Stone. I have that series. That series is so much fun. I was telling Al too. I was sitting there going like, watching a movie these days. Like when we first started watching movies to review them on YouTube. We watched them and review them, but now we actually got to know some of the filmmakers, and we actually learned the process. Like even if you're sharp eye, if you have an open mind, it's like maybe I don't know anything about at the time when I did my review of Hunter's Moon, but yet I was still able to discern that this is not exactly how I'm sure the director would tell me at the time. I said director because I didn't know you. But I'm saying, well, I'm sure he or she would tell me that there are some things that didn't work, because I've seen that in other movies. Yeah, where they had they had show the back of the main. They actually do this with I think I told you this with Sean Patrick Flannery. It wasn't the first time that happened. He was in the Black Rose, and that happened to him, where they had to shoot the back of his head because he wasn't there to do the shot.
It happened. That's that asterisk I was talking about, where there's just so many variables. It's so weird. It's like actors. Hunter's Moon was weird because we did it over the course of so many years because of reshoots and a whole bunch of other issues. So yeah, we made do with what. It was a miracle that we could. It's like Jay Moore through most of the movie wearing a hat because he shaved his head in between when we started, and then 2 years later when we finished, he wasn't bald like me, but he had a different haircut, and we just didn't have the ability to make that work. So he wore a cool hat. Yeah, I have the same hairdo as you. Great taste you got.
Speaking of Hunter's Moon, has it done well enough to be considered for a sequel?
I don't think so. I think the right people made certain the money and things like that. I think it's a profitable film. If you look at like the bottom line versus what was made and things like that, but Hunter's Moon hit like that perfect tornado on a negative aspect. COVID hit, and I think COVID would have helped it had the marketing prior to COVID, because everybody was home to watch stuff. But all of the marketing, all of the in-person stuff, all that cast was supposed to go to Bloody Disgusting was holding like a cast viewing with a select theater. It was like a couple people, not a couple, but a theater of people, and then cast members were going to come and talk, and that got canceled slowly as COVID got bigger and bigger. Cast members started to go, yeah, we're not going to go to the theater. We're not going to go to the theater, and finally had to cancel. So it had no marketing whatsoever. I think that really hurt it. Had it had the marketing beforehand, and Patrick, you and I have talked about this, like the werewolf aspect of it. The marketing thing was like, oh, we're going to push the werewolf. And I'm like, don't push the werewolf. Don't do it. And I kept telling him, don't change the name. It's supposed to be The Orchard. And, initially it probably helped initially, but then the moment, all the things that got dragged in the review were, if the name had stayed the same and if the push and the marketing aspect had focused on other elements other than the actual werewolf, I think it would have been a different movie. So, I go back, much like Hangman, I can appreciate it differently watching it, but you're stuck in this kind of box, this vehicle of, once the momentum happens and other people are moving it for good or for bad, it can be a blessing. Or again, I'm very appreciative. Just even getting the movie made was a miracle. And a lot of people involved were like, oh, we didn't think this was ever going to get finished. So that's where it's like, yeah, I'm not going to give up, because otherwise my career is over if I can't finish this movie. But yeah, I just said, like I said, like it's Al and I were, we're all just saying, I just have such respect for people that can make films, even if they're $35, like you said, Patrick, or whatever that number was that you threw out.
It's just sometimes you see. To me, I think. Let me ask you this. And those who want to join us, by the way, those who want to join us, the movie Hangman is on TUBI for free. So you can come on in and join in with us. We're going to start about 10 minutes or so, 5-10 minutes, and then we'll just get this thing going. I want to ask you, Michael, this question, because I want to see what you have to say. But
yeah,
what's the number one thing as you watching a movie and you're sitting there watching it? What's the worst thing that you hate seeing wasted? Was it budget, location, a storyline? What's the one thing, if you could just like scream and sit there and say, get this one thing right, what would it be?
Well, that's a great question. I think you see this a lot, and it's not, and I'm gonna bite the hand that feeds a little bit here, I guess. Movies now, I think, versus even 10 years ago, and I just was talking to an executive that I'm a big fan of. We were saying that, like, even 10 years ago, films were based off of, like, a script would get to someone's desk and it would get developed, and it started with the material, and then it kind of goes from there, and then actors get attached or director gets attached, and you kind of build it out that way. It's become, and even producing my own stuff, including Hunter's Moon, you start to realize that it's very actor based and it's very numbers driven and it's very sales oriented. So it's kind of become this deconstruction of the film industry as a whole, especially I'm talking totally independent. I don't think studio system is completely different, because they can take losses and they can move things around. But if you're an independent producer or an independent director, writer, whatever, actor, you're looking at, like, if I'm taking a film, if I'm going to do my next film, I'm going, who's the actor that's going to move the needle? How am I going to get this financed? It's all about sales numbers. It's all about projections. So you kind of deconstruct it. It's so little about the actual story itself. And so you saw this kind of ad nauseum in terms of, like, with Bruce Willis, right? Towards the end of his career, he was doing a lot of these things where he was doing a movie, he was shooting one day for 16 hours, and right. He was getting on the cover of the poster, and then you see the movie, and it's like, it's a Cole Hauser movie, but it's Bruce Willis on the poster, and he's kind of in there, and they peppered him in, right? But and then foreign sales agents got smart because they would sell it to certain markets, And then it became like this 15 to 20 minute rule, which was like the main actor that's on the poster has to be in the film for at least 15, 20 minutes because
They start doing that.
it's a I don't think it's an actual written rule, but like, yeah, like I'm getting like, so when I'm pitching a movie now and I have, let's say I have a script that I'm dying to make, there's 3 major roles, and the one big casting piece is the smaller, get them in and get them out kind of thing, similar to what Bruce Willis was doing. The one thing I get is, well, what's the page count? How many minutes is this person? They're getting very savvy to that because they were getting burned, and like porn buyers in particular were saying like, all right, we buy a Bruce Willis movie, or we buy, and again, I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, so I don't want to bash the industry as a whole, but like that's what happened. It's like there were certain names that would move the needle, and they were available to the independent film market. So what I get annoyed with is seeing that, I think, because now people are being driven by and myself included, I'm totally guilty of this as well. Now I'm looking less at the creative aspect and more at how do I get this greenlit? How do I get this financed? How do I get this done with the numbers that I need to do? So I'm deconstructing it in the aspect of like, what's the casting piece? And I'm starting that way, even to the point of writing. When I sit down to write, I'm not going to write a casting. I'm not going to write a movie that I can't cast with XYZ people because I can't get the financing to do the movie. Hunter's Moon is a prime example. It's a female empowerment movie for the most part. So it's very female driven, right? So, Thomas is the one that is the name on the poster, but by and large, the biggest pieces of that movie are the 3 female actresses. Yeah. But the casting and the numbers were moved by Thomas, right? And I love Thomas, and Thomas produces his own movies too, so he's privy to this as well. But so I think that's the thing that annoys me. It's not something that a filmmaker does or doesn't do. It's more how the industry is driven. Because you see that. You'll see a movie and you'll see some name. They come and they go. Sometimes filmmakers do a better job at it. And I don't know if this is a time thing too, where you'll see the quote unquote name come in. Then like the movie progresses for 35 minutes. Then the movie the name comes in again. And it almost doesn't make sense. Where you're like, oh shoot, but I think the filmmaker is kind of, their hands are tied, or the producers are tied, or so it's I don't know where the blame lies. It's more of just the system. So I think that annoys me, because then it's less about storytelling, right? People aren't trying to tell the greatest story. They're trying to tell the most commercial. Commercial is not even the right word. This is not even about commercial. It's just about what's the name that I can attach to drive this, so that I can get it financed, so that I can get it distributed. And it's all broken up that way. And I feel like that's hurting the industry. And that's why you see, again, I won't bash other movies or other filmmakers, but that's why you see, I think, films that are not up to par. And it has nothing to do with the filmmaker, it has nothing to do with the writer, it has nothing to do with the actors involved either. I think everyone does 110% of they're giving everything they have. It's just the structure of the way that the industry's set up is basically setting up film to fail.
You hit it on the right button, though. That's what we were talking about beforehand. To me, the one thing that gets me more than anything else is when talent is wasted. That's what gets me. Like
that's
that.
You took my long-winded, very ridiculous answer and put it into like a very concise answer. Yes, when talent is wasted, 100%, or abused or used for whatever reason. That's a good answer.
But you know what though? But today was advanced. I did not know that they had started to do that, because we saw that when they had the video stores up and running, and you go there and you see, I mean, how many movies, how many boxes have we seen, Al, with Eric Roberts on it, or or Tom Arnold, or whoever.
He's in it for 2 seconds. Yeah,
because that's the first thing when I'm trying to sell a movie. If I'm putting a producer hat on now, who's in it, right? And they don't even, what's the genre and who's in it. Not like, can I read the script? Not can I see the trailer? Not can I see, and again, I'm not knocking the industry, because everyone has to adapt to the industry itself. So this isn't like a product of like me saying, oh, the sales agent or the distributors this is just the way the market is. And I don't know how to fix it. I'm not personally going to be able to fix it myself, but I think the people on all sides of the equation are going to tell you the same thing. It's become very hard to, they used to be able to pre-sell movies too. And now it's like, it's a very slim market. It's kind of gotten very narrow. So there's a pressure. And I think that's why there's also an oversaturation too. There's just so many movies too, which is, as a filmmaker, I'm like, oh, it's great. So many filmmakers can make movies, but that's because it just becomes so overwhelming that if you're a Netflix or whatever, why are you going to pay $2 million for a movie when you can get 40 movies for that $2 million, and then it's all about content. You just
Yeah,
throw it in.
well, yeah, if they could ever put that thing together like that, is for some reason it's just it doesn't seem to happen. It always seems to we got to spend $200 million on a live version of Disney. It's like why do you have to do that? Why can't you just make 20 million, 20 movies out of that? I mean, I'd much rather see that.
Yeah,
All right.
someone in your comment just said name names. I think they want me to name names. I
Mhm.
can't, Tom. I can't name names. I
All right.
gotta feed my family, Tom. I gotta feed my family.
Uh,
Literally.
we are literally going to start our movie right now. It is on TUBI. If you are joining us, for us, we'll make sure the sound is down so YouTube doesn't get goofy. Let's see what else is there. Commercial. If you hit a commercial, just say ad, and then we'll stop, and then we'll pick it up. Just let you guys know this will be a commentary film, so we're going to be talking throughout the film like we are now. So we're going to talk about the making of it and ideas and other good stuff. We'll talk about Michael's new movie coming up pretty soon. So thank you for coming on, and let's get going. I did put the link in so has Al. So just hit that button and away we go.
Here we go.
Lionsgate, man. Lionsgate really seemed to for a while there. It really was just the salvation for between the big studios and the big projects, and it was like the provider of most of the made to direct to video movies seemed to be coming straight from Lionsgate.
I think it still is. I think there's still the mini studio. I think I think they're major friends to independent filmmakers.
I've always wondered that's the band. Is that the same one from Power Rangers?
It is. Yep.
Oh, no.
Same people. They had the rights to all of the Power Rangers. Yep.
Oh wow.
Well,
we have a question for you in the chat. We got: is the streaming market much different than the former DTV market for writers?
DTV market. What's
direct to video? Direct to video.
I think it is different in the sense that the co-writer of Hangman, Charles, and I were just talking about this. I think where it's really affected writers, and this is a big product of like the guilds in general, is the WGA. It's gotten so hard for independent producers. So I wear a bunch of different hats, right? So I'm a WGA member, I'm a producer, and I'm also a director, right? If I'm putting together the movie as a producer, it's hard for us to hire, or me to hire, even myself as a WGA writer. I think that's the biggest thing, rates and things like that. So the market is harder because if you think about it, if you look at it this way from supply and demand, just basic business, if you're getting paid less for the movie as a whole, the cutbacks has to happen somewhere, right? So you can cut back so much on time, so much on how much it costs for the director, how much for the actors and things like that. And so I think writers are getting squeezed. And that's just me speaking personally. My writer fees over the years have not gone up. They've either plateaued or they've gone even down just to get movies made. So that's a negative aspect in the sense that if streamers are paying less for movies as a whole, everyone's going to feel the pressure in terms of the cuts and wearing the producer hat. That's one of the things I have to look at myself as a writer, even as a guild member, how to make that work.
I'm already seeing someone did Al all right already. He put him in a kick-ass Oldsmobile Riviera.
That was the director, Johnny, and Al had a good conversation about that. That car was hand selected by the two of them.
Nice. Yeah, it was so good. So good to see Al.
This is my first time watching it, by the way. I've seen the trailer, but I haven't watched it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
No.
You can actually.
It's all right. It's all right.
As Patrick knows, I'll talk a lot.
Yeah, This is
Yeah, nice intense opening here.
Yeah. The opening was a significant. That opening was very different. This script was rewritten. I'm not exaggerating. Probably 25 times. It's been so many different versions.
Yeah.
It's like if someone's like, "Oh, can I read the original draft?" I couldn't even tell you what the original draft is. There's so many different changes. And Charles and I, the co-writer and a good friend of mine, like a brother to me, we laugh about that because neither of us know what the original looks like.
Nice.
Hey, Tom.
So did you get to go on set for this one?
Charles and I flew ourselves out. I filmed in Atlanta in the dead of winter. It was so cold. I think we were out there for about a week, maybe like 4 or 5 days, something like that. So we saw some of the filming, not a whole lot. When we were there, Al was sick, so we didn't see any of that stuff, which was unfortunate. But we did see a lot of the other stuff filmed. Some of the stuff I think like one of the coldest days was in the cemetery. It was I like it cold. I mean, I'm like a cold, but it was beyond freezing. It was so cold, but it was cool to see. It was definitely an experience to be on set for this film.
Yeah, and I've been to Atlanta in like late November, so yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It can get a little nippy.
Like this scene actually between him and Brittany, I think this was the first thing that Charles and I saw while we were there in person, was this actual scene.
Nice.
Which was kind of cool.
Irwin's such a badass actor.
Such a cool guy too. Like, he's just, everything about him's cool. Just laid back. Very
nice.
Interesting guy.
It's always cool when like the cool actors are like cool in real life.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes they're not, but when they are, it's like extra. Like yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like he's popped even more now than this was done. But he was very pleasant, and I actually think Brittany steals this entire movie. I think she's the best part of this entire movie. I think she's great in this film.
She was the best part for me in X.
Yeah.
She went so against her type.
Oh yeah, I was so surprised she was even in that film, and I actually really liked that film. And I was like, "Whoa!" And she's so good.
Yeah,
but she wasn't this. There's not a lot. I'll be honest. On the page, there's not a lot for her character, and she had some notes, and she really made this amazing 3-dimensional. And she steals. I think she steals the movie. Honestly, I think she's.
I think so too. She stole the movie from me too, because I was like I said, she was so against her type. I mean, I've seen a lot of movies and TV shows, and she always plays the sweetheart, the all-American girl. For her to come out and X and just, to play a porn star and literally go for it, just, wow, that was so blown away by it because she did so well.
Yeah.
And she's so diverse too, like the Pitch Perfect and all this other stuff too.
She's
like
so good in that too.
She can do everything. Yeah. She's one of those people that can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because unless someone can correct me on this, but I'm thinking about the other two main actors in that Pitch Perfect, and I'm thinking, she could do that. She could do that, but I'm not so sure I could give Andrew Kendrick a role like this. And see I can't see Andrew Kendrick do a role like this, nor could I see Anna Camp do something like this. It was one of the reasons why, it's like I just couldn't see him do it. Not like Brittany, which is why I made her role in X stand out all that much more for me, because that was just something that I just couldn't see the other two do.
And I haven't seen it, but Brittany got behind the camera too and had her directorial debut, I think, last year too. I'm curious to see how that turned out.
Oh, nice. Some really good cinematography here too. Like it's all dark but it's
one of the things I was impressed with is the DP on this project. Most of his filmography is a lot of like comedy stuff too. I was really impressed. You wouldn't know, right? At first thing I noticed on set, I was like, wow, this guy has a really interesting eye, and who knows where Johnny, the director, and the DP begin and end. It's always kind of a blur,
right? Yeah.
But we saw this stuff filmed right here with Karl in this school, and I just thought, wow, this is a really cool setup. and the color palettes and things like that. Most of this, obviously there's color correction and stuff in post, but a lot of this was in camera. So we're looking at monitors. I'm seeing something very similar to what you're seeing right now. This is very impressive.
Nice.
Yeah, the question that was online. Yeah, this is Atlanta, and definitely tax things had something to do. Yeah, tax incentives had something to do with it. And yeah, I agree. The lighting and the night scenes are fantastic. The DP is a very talented guy.
Yeah. Now, back in the day, Louisiana, which is where I'm from, had a lot of tax incentives for all the film stuff, and then that slowly dwindled, and everybody I knew that was here moved to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, and a lot of actors and stuff are going to Atlanta now too. There's just a lot of work there. It's a lot of filming. I'm actually filming in Missouri in a few weeks. So another tax incentive thing, but I think living in LA, there's not a whole lot that films actually here, which is
interesting.
Yeah, we saw this part filmed too. This was kind of a cool scene to watch.
Mm.
Fine.
Karl was interesting. If you can think about going back to first roles and whatnot, I remember that I had to do a double check. I had to do a double take on this because I didn't realize it was him, but he actually played Cupid in Hercules.
Did he really?
Yeah, if you go in there and type in Hercules or Xenia and you type in Cupid, you'll see Karl Urban. And when you see him, you'll feel so embarrassed. It was so bad. But it was it was a job, but it was like different.
You have to get your foot in some kind of way, right?
I have an ad now, guys.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Ad that came up.
Pausing.
Yeah, I didn't even know until I went when I rewatched Ghost Ship that he was in Ghost Ship. I totally forgotten that he had done that movie.
He's had such an interesting career. I feel like he's always been on like that precipice of like popping, and then The Boys come out, and I think that's stratosphere now. But which is also interesting because it's a TV show, which now in the past TV wouldn't have put him into a new, but because TV and film has been blurred because of the streaming thing, and now he's just I'm back. Ad's over.
I tell you, that's one thing I like. That's one show I want to see that Anthony Starr did. That's Banshee. Banshee looks absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I started watching it. I barely started watching it, but it does look good.
Al looks really good in this. He looks.
Thank you.
He looks, yeah.
You too, Al. You too.
Yeah, right.
Hey.
Well, literally, if you ask Al if he hung around with Al, the chances are he could say yes and mean it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, he already has the perfect first name, so
It is a good first name. You are right.
So how many times did y'all play Hangman while writing the script?
It was actually like the worst part of the entire process, honestly, because the word changed so many times too. And
that's true. Yeah.
Originally, the word was potbelly pig. In that opening scene, there was supposed to be a big giant pig in the back of the van. You wouldn't see it, but you would see the van rocking when Al got there, and the pig would tie to something later on in the film, and it was above my pay grade. People said, let's change that to whatever the word ends up being, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed watching it the second time through, and that was there was like with Hangman, it was like, okay, you're building towards something. Yeah, and I couldn't understand why. I was sitting going like, what are they? Because it doesn't get really talked about enough. Like, what's the word he's writing out? We're solving the word, but we're not putting it together for a bigger purpose. And I think that's. I was wondering, was that done so people wouldn't focus on the word, or was just something that wasn't thought of?
So that's really like a Johnny question, because in the script we were very aware of like, let's let the audience kind of try and figure out the word as we go, because that was a whole thing for me. It's like, how do we, the whole process of Hangman, it's like I want the audience to try and figure out the word as they go. And again, Al was sick through some of this filming, and again, this isn't like an asterisk that you get to hear about, but I think they lost some days with Al, so I think some choices were made. So I don't know if it's a time thing or if it was a creative choice, and these are things where, Johnny would have answers that I wouldn't necessarily have, but Charles and I can tell you one of the biggest issues we had writing in any process was like, how do we keep if the whole thing's about the puzzle, how do we have them doing police work to get to the puzzle part, and then also how do we get the audience engaged with that? And I think some of that didn't come across in the finished film. And again, I don't know if it's a process of Johnny's choices, his visual, his vision changing it, which is completely fine too. And then also, was it a process of time restraints, money? Who knows? There's a million different things. Was it a spec script? And one of the it was a spec script, yep. And Charles Huttinger, who's my writing partner on this, just comes up with these magical ideas and just had this vision of what if someone was hanging from a tree and had a letter carved in them and the killer was doing the Hangman game. And that's the short version of how the film came about, because Charles has these great concepts and he always does. So hats off to Charles, but that's how it came about. That was the inspiration, just Charles coming up with a kick-ass idea like he tends to do.
I would have said you could do any state you want, but just don't do Louisiana. Can't be carving anything you see hanging around over there.
That's right. That's right.
Definitely don't do that. So this. I don't think this scene was very much. It was in the script. It was very simple, and this is what my hats off to Johnny and the DP, and obviously to Brittany in this scene. I think it's one of the really great scenes. It's so simple, but there's just so much that's happening in this scene. And in the script, it was very simple. They did a lot with a little here.
Yeah, I noticed how nice she got all. She didn't have no toothpaste outside. I mean, I look like a mad dog with my teeth.
I can just see it now, Patrick. Just all coming out. The cheetah trying to lick it up after.
Yeah, he's get away from me! Get away from me!
I like the explanation of the scar too, from earlier. Yeah.
I got dragged in reviews because of that. I don't understand why. I thought it was interesting.
People just pick stuff just to, I don't know.
Yeah.
At least it was explained.
Yeah, it was like not.
It's not just there and like, what the hell,
Exactly.
And so to me, like, the writing is one of the hardest parts for me, at least. Like when because I used to make short films and stuff back, way back when, but like the writing was always to me the most difficult part. Is it? So what's the most difficult part for you while making a movie? Because I know you've directed and done a few other little things.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I think getting the movie financed, getting money for backing to actually get the movie financed is the hardest. Writing is, I don't say the easiest, that's just disrespectful, but like I've been doing it for so long, it's like second nature. It's like what I've been doing
right.
child. So it's the most organic thing for me, I guess. I'll put it that way. The most intimidating, I think, is probably the directing. I still get butterflies and things like that in that process. But yeah, the producing side, getting the money and just getting it across the finish line is just it's exhausting, honestly.
Exhausting, nerve-wracking, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For everyone that you do take over the line, right? Like, once you got Tears, No Tears in Hell over there, so that's 3 movies that you got, plus this one that you wrote. Does that now all that much wider for you? Because you mentioned now that you're going to be shooting in Missouri, so all of a sudden it's almost like, okay, and then you're gonna be doing a promo run for No Tears pretty soon as well. So do other people see that and see like there's a man it's a man of action? It's like you're getting your projects up to the under budget, under time, and does that open the door for you a little bit better?
I hope so. I mean, modesty aside, I feel like if No Tears, and I'll put this as a positive, I feel like No Tears is going to open the door that other films have not. I just think of that in terms of that's how I think of the film. I think that's, and I feel like I've been going in this direction, chasing, and I feel like for the first time after No Tears, Maybe
People are gonna be really surprised by that one in a good way.
I just
And
watched. I just watched it again, and it's I'm excited for that.
Horror film, it's gonna be different.
If you're texting me while you're watching it, I know that I've at least got your attention, Patrick.
Yeah, that's what I did. I did text you. I'm going like, I just put it this way, Al. Let's put it this way. His No Tears in Hell. If it came from Cinephobia, you and I'd be all over it.
Oh hell yeah! There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like right up my alley.
Yep. Now we thought the introduction of the captain. I love Sarah Shahi. I've seen her in a lot of her projects, and she played Shaw in a Person of Interest, and she knocked that out of the ballpark. Was her way she was portrayed? Was that from your writing, or was that from Johnny's direction, or a combination of both?
No, we had her in the wheelchair from the get-go. That was like a creative choice in the script itself. It might have been a guy, I think, at one point. That part I can't remember, but the wheelchair aspect we thought was really cool. If she was, giving this rah-rah speech and go out and get him, and then you see that she can't be out there on the beaten path.
I just love the way Pacino just stares too. He's just like, it's just so, I don't know. Like you can see the wheels going, and it's like, dude, like that's just so cool.
Yeah, I feel like, and I think he treated this this film, it's a credit to him and his grace, like any other film. Like he didn't, to him this was Scarface, this was Godfather. Like he didn't treat it. There was no difference. He gave everything he had, which I thought was amazing, and just shows the caliber of actor he was. I think that's very telling, and I don't think he gets the respect for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're saying De Palma and Pacino, pure magic.
Yeah, I just watched Scarface the other night, actually.
There you
not
go.
the first time, obviously, but I watched it the other night.
Yeah, can't get enough. There you go.
I gotta watch him in Heat again.
So good.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
I gotta revisit that.
So close to perfect. I mean, this is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
It's funny. We're here. We're talking about Pacino and man, but the last and he did De Niro, and I just felt sorry for the last couple of movies they've been. The Awful Nights, the Irishman. They have really struggled. It's.
I'm at a commercial.
You had a commercial?
Yep.
I was at a commercial.
I'm at a commercial too.
There you go. Every time. And I'm back.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, quick one.
Are you back? Patrick, are you back?
No, not yet.
All right. Tubi likes me better than it likes you, Patrick. No.
That's right.
I had that commercial long before you guys, so Tubi must hate me.
Well, I actually do a show called Tubi Terrors, and I talk about movies on Tubi. So there you go.
That's probably why it respects you more. Yeah.
Yeah. It knows.
Yeah.
Man, it knows.
I watch Tubi all the time. Anytime you're looking for a film and you're like, oh, where is this? It's almost always on Tubi.
Yeah, 90% of the time. That's right. Yeah, Tubi's amazing.
I'm at my third commercial.
Wow.
Dang.
That's how I think I had 3.
I think it likes me more.
It's getting more money from you, sending you more ads.
That's right.
That's right. So do you like doing these like detective-y type stories? Is that like something in your wheelhouse or not really?
Boy, they're crushing me. Now I'm looking at Danica Patrick.
I think you're muted, Michael, or something.
No, I
Something
didn't
happened.
touch it.
Yeah. Try talking.
Yeah. Type in. Just type in. I'll tell him. I'll tell him on Facebook. Hold on. Let me freeze it again.
Yeah. Let me. Yeah.
I'll
paused.
go to Facebook. I'll tell her Facebook. Yeah, I'll tell him to do Facebook.
Yeah. You might have to get out and get back in.
Did he freeze? Can you
I'm
hear
not getting
me?
any audio.
Can you hear me, Al?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Let me tell him.
You can hear us either.
No, I can hear you, but I can't hear him.
Yeah.
He might have put himself on mute by accident.
No, he didn't. Then he got out of it.
Oh, okay. I type in the chat. Type in, see if he gets that. I'll hit him on Facebook.
Let me. Technical difficulties, everyone. Technical difficulties. Can you, anybody in the chat? You can hear me and Patrick at least, or can you hear anyone? Can you hear Michael? Can you hear anybody? No. Anyone at all? Anyone? Comment.
Oh, they can't hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. I just put down to him. Yeah.
All right, so we're good. Yeah, I sent him a message too.
Okay.
He should be coming back in a second, hopefully. All right, yeah, so we can hear us, but not him. All right, yeah, something happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
StreamYard can be a little weird.
There we go.
There we go.
All right.
Now I
All
can
right.
hear you guys. Sorry.
There we go.
It was like I was having a bad drug trip or something. Couldn't hear you guys. I was like, they're messing with me. That's exactly what it looked like. And I was like, losing my mind. All right.
No.
So I'm on the porch with the two detectives walking up to the house. Okay.
Yep, that's where I'm at with the porch with yeah. Okay.
Right.
21. We're at 21:11.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. So as I was trying to ask you earlier, do you like doing detective type stories, or is that like something you were ever into as a kid or anything?
Yeah, I tend to like. I think the noir detective kind of thing is really interesting. I'm not sure where it comes from, but I think Hangman and a few other projects really came from my love for like Seven, and I think like I've always been trying to chase the next Seven, where this kind of was, I think, somewhat influenced to answer someone in the chat's question.
I can see that. Yeah.
Because if you look like what's the best serial killer movies, and you do the top 10, it's like how do you crack into that kind of top 10? Not out of arrogance, but just out of I really appreciate the genre. I think it's really kind of cool. But the detective thing, I think the formula.
Oh, I think your audio dropped out again.
Oh man.
Oh.
Good jump. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love technology, huh?
You back? No. Wonder why he can't. Wonder what's causing him to go. Okay, I'm gonna go on pause and tell him again.
Yeah, let me pause. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't have any trouble like this with the other times.
You see, Indie Phantom says this has a very Seven vibe. It's a great wave in the 90s, like Copycat. Yes. Yeah, I always like Copycat too. That was actually a pretty cool little movie.
With Holly Hunter and
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Who was that with Holly Hunter and was it Roseanne Arquette? No, maybe Mary Windsor.
What was it? Let's see.
Or Jennifer Jason Leigh, maybe.
There we go.
I can hear you now. I'm not touching anything. It's very weird.
Wow.
Yeah. good old tech problems, you know.
Yeah. If it happens again, I'll just keep dropping off and come back because that seems to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at 22:24. Do we need to go back for you, Michael?
Nope, I'm actually a smidget ahead, so I'm going to pause it for a couple seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, same. I'm like 20
All right.
seconds ahead.
Okay. They're chasing that lady. She's pretty athletic.
Yeah, she's a local. I think she was a local hire to Atlanta too. I really liked her.
She kind of reminds me of Michelle Rodriguez.
She's a very much exactly.
Yeah. Like I'm waiting for her to just start like whooping ass.
That's fine. Yes. Love Michelle Rodriguez.
Lost him again.
Yeah.
Yep. 2025 and still tech problems. Always tech problems, man.
Yeah. It's hard trying to outrun the Rohirrim.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Why don't you add him this time and see if that helps?
We know we had to slip something in there along that line. We wouldn't be us without it.
Yeah.
Man, that's great camera work, Michael.
I'm hearing you for like 2 seconds, then I can't hear you. It's hearing again, right?
We hear you.
Oh,
We hear
You're
you.
okay now. Yeah.
Okay, it's got quiet. So we're all in the interrogation room at
Yes.
this point? Got it.
Yeah.
There you go. Interrogation scene has slick lighting. Yeah. Like you said, it's some pretty nice cinematography in this one.
Yeah, I really think you did a great job.
Yeah.
All right, I'm calling it now. Next Fast and the Furious, she's gonna show up as Michelle Rodriguez's sister.
Or stunt double or something, right?
Yeah, something.
Mhm.
Cousin, something.
Or she pops up in the next Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Could be.
Are they working on a new Star Trek movie? Because it's been a while now.
Yeah, that's a good question. He's only done. He's. I don't think. I think Carl Urban. You think about him. I think he's only done like 2 superhero movies. He did he did The Boys, and then he did Red with Bruce Willis.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice little intense scene right here too. Going back and forth with her and Pacino.
She does seem. She does seem like she ran because she was scared more than she was guilty. Her face looks like she's not hiding anything.
Yeah. All right. You back?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I'll just keep dropping off like that. I don't know what's happening, but
Huh. Do you think I should do it? Help for him to sign out all the way out and come back in? I mean,
that's what I keep doing. It seems to be the only that fixes it. Maybe I can switch over from my phone. Maybe if it happens again, maybe I'll go on my phone instead of my. Maybe I can switch these. That's an option.
It all depends. Sometimes it's weird. Like sometimes my internet will go slow and like it'll drop me out and stuff too. Yeah. It
I don't know
happens.
I don't know what that is. That Los Angeles has the hardest problem staying connected. Always have problems more than any other state. It's always been Los Angeles, California.
Here we go. We have a question for you, Michael. When writing these chase scenes, how specific do you need to get, and is it about screen time?
So yeah, we that chase scene was in there, and we had them ripping through yards and doing all kinds of stuff. So we got very specific. And then when when you get the set, it was like here's the set pieces. Whoa. Hold on.
Too many. Yeah.
That's not.
Well, I think this is a preview. I think this is a preview of his new movie.
I was trying to see if I can get on the phone too. Maybe if it keeps dropping out, I'll switch to the phone. No, we had it in there. It was more about pacing, and then like you get into the actual location and you figure out what works best for the location. So the director and the DP and the actual location scout did all that stuff. So it's in there. We had the chase. We had the beginning and the end of the chase, and then the middle just kind of fits with the stunt coordinator and all that stuff. So it was more about just pacing, and yeah, the specifics were kind of dictated by location and time and things like that.
Yeah.
Good call.
And then as you know, because you've directed too, like when you get there, it's not going to be exactly how you write it either.
It's impossible, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to go with that, and that's actually helped me with the writing, because you want to be a perfectionist with writing, and then you realize, well, there's so many things that are going to change that are out of your control anyways, whether it's notes from actors or producers or locations or. So my thing is just get it on the page, get the story, get the ins and the outs, and then there's some really cool creative shots that Johnny and the DP came up with, or I don't know who on her suicide attempt there. That was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sad scene. I mean, her face, she had a really expressive face. That was a good role she played.
Yeah, I really like that actress. I thought she did a great job.
Yeah. I wonder what else she's done.
I don't know.
Maybe you can track her down, Patrick.
That's what I'm thinking about.
She's probably Atlanta based. Have her on. Yeah.
There's Shaw. I call her Shaw. Sarah Shahi. She's amazing.
She's like a no crap taking.
Yeah, she's very. Her character is, I'm not, like I said, I wasn't sure if it was written this way, but her character is very aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
very, very bitter. It's like the way she's talking to them, and remember, you're not a cop anymore. Well, your cops aren't doing much better.
Indeed.
Forensics found.
Ooh, I like that time thing too. All right, we're back. Or not.
Oh man, I got off again.
All right, so now
I think
They
they're.
so at this point they're just trying to figure out what's going on, right?
Yeah, the following clues. The following clues. Yeah. I do think I see, like he mentioned about the Hangman game. I do think that would have been more crucial now to have that in the movie. So
Yeah.
we're following along with these guys.
Yeah, in the script, it doesn't show it in the script, right? Like in the script, we showed people trying to solve they had a tech team trying to solve it. And I think maybe by not focusing on it, because eventually you feel like the smartest minds would be able to figure that out if the FBI was involved and all that other stuff. Just trying to figure it out. So I think maybe Johnny stayed away from that as possible. This is a really cool location that Johnny found, or someone found in Atlanta. It's like this mausoleum kind of thing. So
yeah, it's like churchy mausoleum thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the script was wrapped around this location after they found this location. So the ending, for example, was not at this location. Actually, this is a different one. Sorry. This church was in the script. It's later where they go to a specific. Sorry, my version of your cheetah, Patrick, is scratching a screen right now. Stop doing that. Stop.
He probably hears a bat.
She might.
Gotta do that.
All right, and we have a question for you. Where do you like to write? In an office or in a restaurant like David Mamet?
I've gotten to the place now where I'm writing like on a couch with my kids hanging on me. I'm writing. I write a lot of stuff phone in like an email draft. It's gotten to the place where if it gets too quiet, I can't do it. So anywhere, it's become like a second muscle. Like it's just in a perfect world, I'd love to have like this really cool office space set up. I just don't have that at the moment. So the table I'm sitting at now, I've written at, on the couch I've written at, in bed I've written at, on libraries I've written at.
Just wherever it hits you, right?
Yeah, and it's like you just have to make the commitment, right? So like on a train, on a plane, I feel like it's Dr. Seuss, but that's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, most of my scripts have been written on drafts and emails on phones at this point. That's the ridiculous of it. But I would love to have like a set place and have a very formulaic formula for doing it, but I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I often for my videos and stuff. I'm always writing stuff in my phone for like later, stuff for later.
The way to do it because we're attached to it, right? Like we always have it. It's like all these
Right.
things where,
Yeah, I'm never away from it. I got right.
this actor who plays the priest is Steve something or other. I can't remember his last name. He's Atlanta based too, but I really think he does a great job in this film too. I think there's another thing going on that he brought to the thing. That's not in the script.
I was going to ask you, do you and Johnny still stay in touch quite a bit?
Yeah, Johnny's been really good to me. He's a good friend. I mean, we met obviously through this process of this film, but if he needs a writer, he reaches out. He's been very good. Yes, little boy. What? My boy cat's going crazy right now, playing with the
Right.
But yeah, Johnny reaches out. He just reached out actually a couple weeks ago for like if I had some horror scripts and stuff. So he's a very gracious director and good guy, really good man, good family.
Nice.
It's good to have. Now I know some writers, they like to build up on things. They don't like to do it the last minute. Are you like that too? Like do you have like like if someone comes up to you and they say, "What do you?" Because I mean, producers do that, right? They come around and say, "So what do you got? What do you got cooking? What do you got cooking?" It's not really good to have nothing. It's not good to have no stories. It's good to have maybe a few. But do you have other stories ready to go if someone wanted to buy them?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of scripts that's sitting there, and then also I did like a movie like a year or two ago called The Island with Michael Jai White, and that was the producer called my rep, and I think we had 7 or 8 days to kind of work on together to make that whole script put together, and then they filmed it like a week or two later after that.
Wow.
So sometimes it just kind of happens like that. And the producers, it's just very interesting. Actually, the one that I'm filming in Missouri on the 5th, I actually wrote for Johnny because Johnny was like, "Oh, I have this producer that's looking for these projects, and this is the budget point. Can you write the script? It has to be contained. This is it." And so I wrote it. And the producers of the project are going to yell at me for saying this, but I wrote this one I'm shooting on the 5th in like 5 or 6 days. Just sat down and rammed it out, and I knew it was a great script. And Johnny was like, "Oh, it's not for me," and I was like, "That's okay. I'll take it." And so it's one of these things where I was like, I know this movie should be made, and now it's I'll direct it myself on the 5th of next month. Nice. So it's just one of those things where like nothing's ever wasted. It's one thing I tell writers too. It's like I think sometimes writers get so caught up in being perfectionists, and it's like, oh, I wrote the script, it's not going to get made, and then they just quit. And it's like I've written probably 200 scripts at least, probably more in the course of my life at this point, where it's like some are paid, some are ghost jobs, some are just for my own sake, and you just keep writing and writing and writing. It's you either love it or you don't. I think that's the biggest thing. So, but yeah,
I got a commercial.
Right. But
yeah, same.
Like American Beauty is like a prime example. I was just telling someone this story. Like Alan Ball sold something else, and then they were like, "Well, what else do you have?" And American Beauty was like sitting on his shelf for years, and he was like, "Well, I have this drama. It's very like melodramatic. It's very like dark and morbid, like and they're like, "Yeah, we love it." And next thing you know, it's winning Academy Awards. So it's like you never know when you have a script that's going to change or get bought or like. And again, like I said, like found footage has now come back again. So it's one of those things where if the original version of Hangman was now with the found footage, I could probably make Hangman now, the original version of it anyway. So it's I always say to writers, just keep writing.
footage. You know, for a genre that a lot of and Al, you know what I'm talking about here. For a genre, a subgenre, of that people always seem to hate. It sure is damn popular.
You talking about horror?
No,
I'm talking
found
about,
footage.
yeah, I'm talking about found footage films. People,
Oh,
if you thought,
yeah. It
uh,
always seems
I
horror is
go
like
ahead.
the. Are you back? You back, Patrick?
No, I'm still running through commercials.
But that's like that's found footage is like a microcosm of the horror genre, right? I mean, horror's
Oh
always been
yeah, that's
like
what. Yeah, I mean,
child.
it is.
Like, look at the Friday the 13th franchise, and Paramount was like mortified by it, but it's like this moneymaker, and they're like, we hate it, but we're also going to make lots of money off it. It's just bizarre.
I'm back.
Where are you at time wise, Patrick? Oh,
I am
now
at 34:29.
okay.
Oh wow, I'm like 2 minutes ahead of y'all. All right. Yeah, Tom was saying scripts have strange lives. The Omen script went to different studios and was changed along the way. Oh yeah, that definitely happens a lot.
Hmm?
What's your kitty's name?
I have two, Pepper and Jack. They're bonded siblings. One's a boy and one's a girl. Right now, the boy, who's giant, is playing with this balloon from
Nice.
it's my girlfriend's birthday. No, that's my daughter's birthday. I had birthday after birthday after birthday. He's playing with my daughter's birthday balloon and going crazy right now.
Nice.
What's the timeline? Are we at now? Time code?
Let's see, I am at 37:30. 37:30.
All right, let me get to where you're at. 37:30. Okay, I'm caught up. I'm where you are now.
I always like the background when production design gets in there, and they put all the faces on there on the wanted pictures. You
Yeah,
know,
very
they
cool.
always see crew members. I think it's a lot of fun.
Those are little intricate things that like people in the industry kind of know, but the average person just kind of takes for granted, I think. And those are the kind of cool things that you can see. I really have a lot of appreciation for art department in general.
Oh yeah.
Especially if they get a good funny picture, for that, so you can look at it and you look at the picture and like I think they did that on Scrubs. They had that one on Scrubs. They had some funny ass pictures for people using it for their badges. It's just
Also, kind of a cool way to make a cameo too.
mm-hmm.
Like I know Hitchcock did that a few times in like pictures and stuff in the background.
I wonder what character Al Pacino likes playing best. Is he more of a Shakespeare guy? Is he more of a gangster guy, or is he more of a cop guy?
He keeps going back to Shakespeare for the stuff that he puts on himself. So I kind of wonder if that's, was it Richard the Fourth that he was fixated on for the longest time, and then
Mm-hmm.
Salome that he did is another
Yeah.
Shakespeare-based thing. So I feel like he's geared towards that. I don't know.
Also, I know he plays a cop a lot too.
He does play a cop a lot. You're right. I think he's also director-driven too, because he told me that Sidney Lumet was like his favorite director.
He's got the cameos now. All right, we got a question. Do you get royalties from things like Tubi and streaming services?
That's a good question. Without going into detail.
Yeah, without going into detail, of course. But I mean, it is interesting to know if they get any kind of kickback from.
I mean, remember Amazon. It used to be, as soon as your movie came on, and maybe you went like maybe like 15 minutes into it, you started getting paid. Now I think is up to now I think you have to watch half the movie. Half the movie has to be watched before you get monetized, where you start getting paid for it.
Yeah. I got you.
I
That's-
do get residuals for Hangman, not necessarily through Tubi, but
Just in general. Yeah.
through the Writers Guild. It's one of the few
Nice.
I have because it's WGA based that I do get residuals for. That's the benefit of a union job versus a non-union.
And then luckily this is actually it's streaming on multiple things. It's on Tubi, it's on Plex, it's on a few different official ways you can watch it.
So every quarter I get like a chicken. They've gotten obviously significantly smaller, and they're split two ways between Charles and I. But when we first started it, they were not massive numbers, but they were good checks, and they've gotten smaller. It goes to a different platform. Sometimes they come back and.
So it sucks that there's no more video stores, where you can go down. You get paid. You probably get paid less, but a lot of people will come out there and watch it.
But how fun was it going into the video store? I just still
miss it.
Like as a kid creeping around the horror section and looking at those boxes with just such amazing images on them, where just your mind would go, your imagination would just start to go. Kids today don't have that, or they see the screen grabs. My kids will see the screen grabs on like the streaming thing and get freaked out. But I remember just being in Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or whatever. Being like
you see those covers and it's like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, like you'd be in like the drama or the action section, and then you kind of just grab it. You slowly start to go into that horror section, and then those are, I can still see those boxes as my 40s.
I was just thinking, for me, going inside the Family Video, I'd be creeping in there, and I go down the straight main aisle, or they reduced all their prices. They went down from the big prices down to $2 for $3, and so I go race down there, and what would I be looking for, Al?
Probably Hallmark stuff. No.
Yeah, Patrick is a Hallmark guy.
See
that.
I do. You know what? I'm not gonna do. You guys can hate all you want, but I bought the Good Witch series.
That doesn't.
There you go.
I think you're a hopeless romantic. That part I know about you. So you're a horror fan, but you are a hopeless romantic at heart. I love that about you.
Yep, definitely.
So she's a local hire from Atlanta too. This Emmy actress whose name is escaping me at the moment. So I think she does a great job as well.
I'm
assuming.
I love the car. I think that's so cool. It's so Pacino.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that was a conversation because Johnny's a big car guy too. Because he did. Johnny's like I won't remember Johnny's storyline, but like his whole thing was like the Gone in 60 Seconds. Not the Nick Cage one, but the original one back in the 70s was like introduction into the stunt world. So car things was like a big thing for Johnny.
Nice.
I was really
I also really like that little time thing going on.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
That's a Johnny or an editor or
yeah.
It was not in the script like that. I thought it was really cool that they did that.
Yeah, it's neat.
Very stylized and interesting. I thought that was a really cool choice. And then so I think we're all in the meatpacking thing, right? So I just thought this was a cool set. I didn't see this in person, but I thought they did a really great job here. And the killer was like one of the last people cast too. It was like not a point of contention, but it was always interesting because the killer was almost underwritten. Because we saw him as writers, we saw him more as a Michael Myers, like almost not Michael Myers, not the right choice, but like just a sadistic killer that didn't have dialogue and all that stuff. And then they cast this great actor, and all of a sudden the actor's like, "Well, I got to say something," and then we had kind of to rework that. And Charles and I saw things differently, and I think it actually works better the way it turned out than we originally done it. But that's another way that once you start getting the difference between the page versus what actually works on the screen is something that as well.
Let's see. Indie Phantom says nothing beats the video store. Even my local cinema doesn't have the movie posters in the lobby anymore. Oh, that stinks.
No, the posters, like the coming attractions, are always the greatest.
It's always, you know what though, it's like it always surprises me too when I talk to, and Al can tell you this too. When we talk to a lot of the directors of these movies and whatnot. We'll ask them, or I'll ask them, like, did you get a poster, or did you get a box of 50, DVDs to give out to your friends? And and the looks I would get, be like, 50 what? Like, I mean, what, they don't give you anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I remember the first time I talked to that happened. I talked to the director of Molly, and I was talking to him about, yeah, I got the DVD, and I just assumed that he had it. I said, so we're talking about it. I said, like, I really liked it, and he goes, so you got a Blu-ray? I'm like, yeah. I said, didn't you get a box of Blu-rays? He goes, I didn't get a single DVD. I was like, I feel so bad.
Let's see. Tom says this new generation doesn't care. Obviously, I don't necessarily think it's that. I personally think that they haven't experienced it, so they don't know what they're missing. They just don't know.
Yeah, it's already 5 years. It's been 5 years since we lost our video stores. It's unbelievable. It's like you think that it's just like, wow, it's just open, and yet it's been 5 years already. And
I thought it was longer than 5 years. 5 years seems short to me. I thought it was longer than that.
It's been longer here.
Oh, okay.
Been
Yeah,
closer to 10, probably.
well, that was the only one left. Everything else was gone. Family Video was the last soldier standing.
Mm.
Oh, posters are cinema, most digital. Yeah, that actually does make sense. Easier for
Yeah.
them to replace the digital aspect of it. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, they can just throw up whatever, boom, and it's
I used to like going in there with my when this clerk named Eric worked in there. He would go in there, and they would want him to play all the new stuff. But he walk in there, and he'd be playing all the classic movies from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
And people would be sitting there talking about those movies with him. And they will walk out. They would always walk out with a little bit more than what they intended to come in. Maybe they came to get two movies. They might have got two movies, but they also might have bought snacks. He knew how to make money for his store.
yeah. So
I
the
got
last video store near me closed in 2016. On the last day, everything was selling for $1. Till
I got
bags
a,
of films and series. Nice.
This
I got
bald
an
guy,
answer.
the bald
I got
guy
an
hanging in this scene. I think Johnny was joking, but this bald guy was almost me. He was like, if we can't find a bald guy for this hanging thing, it's gonna be you. I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Say, come on, man, you can do it.
I thought this was are you guys at the car in the river scene?
No,
Yeah.
I got that. I got an ad.
Oh,
Nah. Tubi really likes you today, Patrick.
I know. That's because they keep on. Seriously, they keep on throwing all these casino ads at me.
they want you to gamble your money away.
I'm just laughing at that because like I'm the last person that you want. You'll try to get to try to play those games because I just don't like them.
So when I pause it, I now have one of those ads that not moving ads that pop up, and
Yeah.
it's Chris O'Dowd from the IT crowd, and he's hawking Khalifa almond milk.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That is
I was
funny.
like, oh, I didn't. Okay. All right. So the day he filled the 2 bags, the greatest day of my movie nerd life. There you go.
Right there with you. I
All
would've-
right. Oh, a car. Whose car was that in the water?
Are you back?
Yeah, I just got back.
All right.
It's a victim car.
All right. So what time you at, Patrick?
I'm at 48:21.
All right.
Right
I like how Brittany played her role too without any makeup on. There's no makeup on.
Now, if I was watching it on the computer, the Tubi ads would be blocked for me too, but I'm not. I got it on the TV, so I'm on the computer. So
Yeah, I think we're all at the river now.
Yeah.
Carlin Lighty really consider. Yeah, indeed. All right.
Your cat,
Hey,
your
Michael,
cat, Ross.
Amy here.
Your cat Ross.
Yeah.
Hey, Amy.
Tom says you can still visit the very last video store at Garrett's house in Britain. There you go, Patrick.
Oh, that's right. That's right. How many times has he featured you on there? I think I've been on there once.
Twice, I think.
Twice.
Yeah. Let's see. Hangman is awesome. We got to catch up. Letters to Daniel, the limited series got funded. There you go.
Congrats, Amy. Fantastic. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. I'm always Amy's awesome. Amy just is relentless. She just always is chasing a dream. I love it. Love Amy. So passionate. Congrats, Amy.
So that means we gotta have Amy on the show soon.
You do have to have Amy on the show. Amy would be a great guest for you.
Yeah, that's always exciting to get something going like that.
Yeah. Amy has a show too. I think I did Amy's show back a while ago too.
Oh, this is okay.
You guys can do a crossover or something.
How do you like doing these podcasts like this, Michael?
I think they're a lot of fun. I mean, it's one of those things where you get to talk. I mean, film is my life. It's like it's what I've dreamed of doing. I get to do it for a living. So anytime I can talk to other people that are passionate about that, why would I not do that? Plus, Patrick, you and I have become friends over the years, so that makes it even that much more.
Yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot to watch. I had so much mad respect for you when we brought in Khalil in there, and he just reached out, and
that was amazing. He's doing some great things. He did part 2 of his movie. I love that. Yeah,
he's prepping part 3.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool shot right there from Karl.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's been a lot of fun seeing other filmmakers and seeing, you've had people that I love and adore like Gabby on the show as well. So
yeah, Gabby's awesome. We're going to be doing Gabby and I are going to do we're going to do a watch party for a Haley Bennett movie in May.
The two of you are huge, Haley. That's the two of you mentioned Haley Bennett. That makes a lot of sense.
We're slap happy for Haley. I mean, it's like yeah, that's for sure.
Makes a lot of sense, actually.
Patrick always gets the best guest, so
He does.
Yeah, he does.
I didn't know. I didn't realize that she was such a fan until I until I noticed that like Haley has she gave liked some of the comments I made, and next thing you know, there's Gabby right there starting she's liking them, and I said, oh, I didn't know. I said, are you a Gabby? Are you a Haley fan too? Because I love Haley Bennett. I love her so much. And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Two of you have that in common for sure.
Well, now it makes me feel a lot more comfortable doing a watch party with her. I don't know if I would do a watch party with her, by myself. I wouldn't do that. And I don't think, I would. I'd rather do it with a woman, and she has to be, for her, because there's someone had dropped a comment on her Instagram page, and she's very open and very friendly with her fans, and somebody was criticizing her, calling her semi-famous, and I just laugh at that. I laughed at that because they obviously have zero idea how she works. She's have you ever worked with or have experienced an actor that is just going to be a big star, but yet at the same time they sort of pull back from it, like Haley Bennett's like that. She could be a leading lady, but if you go back and look at her work, she's done a lot of supporting roles, not very many lead roles, but that's by choice. Have you ever met anybody? Have you ever met anybody like that? Because it seems like everybody wants to. everybody wants to, to be the lead.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I was Sydney Sweeney was supposed to be in Hunter's Moon, but that's probably the closest I've come to someone who was pre-famous and now is obviously very famous. But as regards to working with somebody, that's a good question.
I still gotta see some of her work. I have not seen her in her work. I don't. I know the name, but I don't know her.
Did you watch Tarantino's last film?
Hollywood? No.
Okay, she's in that with basically everyone who's involved with the Charles Manson family in that movie is now a famous person.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
none of them were famous before. I mean, they were like on the precipice. He casts like these people that are all like uber celebrities right now, which is really interesting.
I knew she did that. She did that. I think she did that rom-com first with Glenn Powell. I think that came first before her Tarantino role.
You need to watch that Tarantino one, man, so we can do that top 10. Come on, Pat.
Oh, we gotta do that, don't we?
Oh, I won't ruin it for you. Yeah, watch it first. Definitely don't. I won't ruin it for you.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do the top 10 list for sure.
All right. So she's saying Recovery Unplugged. Is that the name of the show?
That's her podcast.
Nice. All right. Yeah. So everybody go check out Recovery Unplugged.
Okay.
Let's see. And she also says, if I can show it, it's not doing it now. There we go. Got an off-Broadway show funded Letters to Daniel spinoff. There you go.
I can't read the last part of that, but congrats, Amy. That's fantastic. Very excited.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. Seeing other filmmakers must give you energy. Let's see.
I think, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all in it together. I don't think it's a competition. I get weirded out by people that are judgmental and stressed and feel like it's this competition between other filmmakers. I don't really understand that.
Yeah, so Quentin had Austin Butler, Sydney Sweeney, and Lily Rose Depp at Spawn Ranch before they broke out. Yeah.
There's one other one too. The girl from the Demi Moore movie.
Margot Qualley.
Margot Qualley's in that too. That's the fourth person. So that's the group of all people that make up the Manson family.
Yeah. I finally picked up one of her movies that I've been chasing for a couple of years. I finally got a copy of it through Hamilton book. It was the guy my Salinger year.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the movie?
Yes, the name of the movie. She plays an intern for J.D. Salinger, agent, and then she knows that you really don't do anything with it, and then she gets involved and she starts writing back to all these fans that have written into her, supposedly to him, but he doesn't answer. He doesn't answer anything. So she takes it up that she speaks up on his behalf.
Interesting.
That's right. Enough room for everybody. That's right.
And it has Sigourney Weaver in it.
There's also The Nice Guys. Okay. Oh, got it. Yeah. I forgot about The Nice Guys. I know. I'm kind of quiet because I'm watching the movie.
No, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm watching too. My film's right here. That's why.
So when you heard it was going to be Pacino, were you like, "Holy crap"?
Yeah, I mean it's one of the most amazing moments of my life. I think it's one of those things. 20 years from now, I don't think that's going to change. I mean, it's still.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's freaking Pacino.
I mean, the list of people that are on his level is so small. I mean, it's just,
it's good. It's good that he came back. This is one thing I was really happy to see him in this movie. And I really was really impressed because he had done that. He'd been trapped in that chewing the scenery mode. Like trying to watch him in Devil's Advocate is painful.
I
It's
like
painful.
Devil's Advocate. I really do. Maybe
I like that movie too.
I just think he
Oh,
fits that part. But
he just yells and yells, and it's like he just screams, and it's just like,
well, he's playing the devil, but I mean, Patrick, we don't want him to be like a librarian. But I get what you're saying.
a librarian.
Well,
Uh,
you want the devil to be very soft spoken, I guess. No, I get it. I get what you're saying. I'm just
I just he a lot of his films just tends to overshout all the time, and it's like you don't have to do that. You just speak normal, and you carry a lot more weight. But a lot of these movies, he just like like The Recruit was like that. He was really good in that. But then the big climax scene, and what does he do? He gets up there and starts chewing the scenery, and his voice gets louder and louder. Scarface, the end of Scarface. Hello to my little friend. And he's just grieving, and he's just it's just like,
Oh yeah,
go back
he's
to-
so
go back
overacting
to
in Scarface. It's crazy.
how about? I mean, look at the part where he's baptizing his daughter, and he had all the gangsters killed, and he's just super quiet. He was never been more dangerous than in that scene right there.
Yeah,
Like,
but
he was,
that's what I'm saying about you never know about the asterisk, though. You don't know if it's the director's choice. You don't know, like, there's a
That's
lot
true,
of things
yeah.
that go into it where it's like, because if you look at him like any given Sunday, he's playing this fiery coach, and so it kind of works.
Yeah.
He's got one of the
that makes
greatest
sense.
cinematic speeches, and that's an Oliver Stone film, who wrote Scarface, so it's kind of this interesting kind of interjection kind of thing. But my favorite Pacino film, and I told him this, was Donnie Brasco. I think he's playing a real person. He's very subtle. It's Lefty Rizzio. It's very closer to, Michael from The Godfather. So I think he makes choices. I think the thing that's respectable about him is he's always, nothing about him is boring. He's always going to make some kind of
I think
choice.
that's the casting, isn't it?
Yeah, and also Insomnia.
Yeah.
The Nolan film is just brought up.
Oh, that's one of my very favorite movies of his.
Yeah, and he's playing. I mean, it's very good in that. But again, Christopher Nolan is very dialed in terms of like what he's expecting from actors. So I think it's one of those things where, who knows? I've never given an actor a note like be bigger, but who knows what De Palma tells him? I don't know. I'm not privy to that. He was big in Dog Day in moments too.
He was Dog Day to me is so underrated. Like that movie is freaking incredible.
Yeah, no, he had said that. I mean, they had like 3.5 months of like pre-production and rewrites and rehearsals for the film. So, like by the time they started filming, I mean, it makes sense that I think it's such an amazing film.
Yeah. See, Pacino can go both ways, but I still love the big Pacino. Glengarry Glen Ross, Dick Tracy.
Glengarry Glen Ross.
Glenn Ross. You can't go. You can't go wrong when you have David Mamet write anything at all. I mean,
Yeah, but but that cast is just that's an amazing cast.
Yeah, that cast is ridiculous.
So crazy. And David Mamet is, his plays are just so fantastic.
yeah, he's magnificent.
He's a Massachusetts guy, or at least he lives in Chestnut Hill or Newton. I don't know if he's from there, but.
Uh-oh.
See, Amy says, I've given the note, give me less.
Yeah, give me less. That's a note. That makes sense. Go bigger. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
This street reminds me of that alley in like Nightmare on Elm Street for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Kinda, a little bit.
That's in California, that alleyway.
Yeah.
And Nightmare on Elm Street is it's one of the biggest reasons I ever got into filmmaking.
Nice. I should have worn my Freddy shirt, man.
Yeah,
but Patrick, look, I got my Beyond shirt on, so there you go.
Which one you got?
Beyond.
Yeah.
Oh, the Beyond.
Yeah,
Fun.
Great shirt.
Great movie.
Speaking of a guy who wrote only half scripts, Lucio Fulci.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Well, remember, like I was saying there before about martial arts films. A lot of the martial art films, the directors over there, they used to film all the fight scenes first. All the fight scenes they filmed first, and then they wrote the script after. They wrote the script. It wasn't like in a progress. They look at what they filmed and then do a dialogue based on what they saw as far as
Right.
fight films.
That's interesting.
That is really interesting. I know what I really liked about I'll tell you what I really liked about this killer here. He's mobile. He's fast and he's mobile.
Mhm.
You can work hard to catch him.
This part was all of this bike stuff was on the this part was in the script too. Johnny amped it up because his background is action for sure, but
Yeah.
we tried to. I think we somewhat mimicked the Seven formula in terms of like this should happen here, this should happen here. Seems very. I'm making it very basic, but
And of course, we just went to an ad for me.
Oh, me too.
all right.
All right. Tom says, "Sea of Love." Yeah, that's a pretty interesting movie too.
Good movie too. That was good.
Yep. Ellen Barkin,
Yeah.
Michael Rooker.
I think
Yeah.
I want to say John Goodman was in that one too, wasn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, Rooker and what was Goodman in that one? I think John Goodman, such an underrated actor.
Yes. All right, I'm back.
Best thing I ever saw John Goodman in it. 10 Cloverfield Lane. Holy crow.
So good in that.
Great
Man,
movie.
I mean,
he was-
Big
wow. I mean,
Lebowski too. I mean, you gotta go on that route too. But
I mean, it was so it's so interesting to see an actor that can change on a dime.
a different
Like
guy.
For me, it would be like Steve Carell. Steve Carell can just he go in between him and walking in between one room into the next. He can totally change his whole personality. I think that's an amazing thing. Jason Sudeikis can do that. He can go from being just a lovable lunk, like watch Colossal. You won't even recognize him the way he changes over. It's yeah. Now, did you get very many because of the trap situations? Did you get a lot of people talking about Jigsaw, Tobin Bell's movie? A lot of comparisons to that, or did people recognize that it's a totally different movie?
You're talking about Saw versus Hangman?
Yeah, I think Hangman. I tell you what I like about Hangman more. I'm not saying that because you're here either. I like it more. I like it more because it's targeted. It's.
I don't think we ever got the comparison. And like Lee Wennell and I have, when I was back on Twitter, we would communicate. But I have a lot of respect for the Saw franchise. I think it's more clever than people give it
Oh
credit.
yeah, I like the first three. The first three, I really enjoyed them quite a bit. After that, then I lost interest because it was all about the traps.
Yeah,
But
it becomes very, very torture porn. I mean, it's always been that, but there's a cleverness to the first three or four that are locked into, and the stories are very intertwined. But no, I don't think I ever got the comparison. I think because I think the Hangman thing is very simplistic. There's no
Yeah. Oh.
torture element to it, right? Like it's just the hanging with the letter. It's all about the letter and that kind of stuff. So I think I'd be honored if they were compared, a positive perspective. But I think I'm a big fan of Saw, that franchise, and especially the first couple, like you said, Patrick.
They were fun to watch. I like this because it is a targeted person. That's it sort of makes you really do miss the fact that man, if you just get out of that little bit of the game along with it. This movie is so much fun. This movie is, I mean, and I was surprised too when we get there. I'm going to talk to you about that. I liked this movie so much, and it's like I liked how it ended, and I had high hopes for it too because horror. I don't know horror sequels. oh God, they always seem to take a big step backwards for the most part. Very few can go forward. They might stay in place. Like the
Yeah.
first three Karl movies, they stayed right in place. But after that, they always seem to regress. But a murder mystery or police officers, a series like that, um, I always think they advance more. Like you can see more possibilities with these characters. You want to see them more.
Like
Uh,
what would be an example of a positive step for a sequel for a murder mystery thriller detective kind of thing in your mind?
it's sort of like Dirty Harry. As much as some people
Oh,
may not like
yeah,
them, look at Dirty Harry. He could advance. I mean, he advanced.
yeah,
He was different.
good call. Yeah,
Uh,
True.
uh, I like that. I mean, I can think of a lot of films, like Private Eye, but they still are fighting crime so much, so to speak. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's probably more. I think Hollywood think that, well, we can't make these guys into we can't make these guys into like, to me, it's like, how could you not make the Al Pacino's cop? How could you not get him in another movie? The Silence of the Lambs. He
Oh,
had
that's a good
yeah.
example. That was a good example. Yeah.
It seems like, well, we can't seem to do that. So if we do that, we gotta move our cops over to TV, and it's just like, no, you don't. Yeah.
Hey, Amy has a question for you, Michael. She's filming her first action film in September. You have any advice?
Yeah, have a great DP and a great stunt coordinator. That's the best advice I could give you because I'm not an action guy by any stretch. So when it comes to action, I just lean into those two people and pair them together. Uh, it's the same thing I'll give any filmmaker. Surround yourself with people that know more than you and the things that you don't know. So if you know actors, Amy, which you do, and people and emotions, obviously you've got that handled. Anybody else that you work with, whether it's special effects or action, just get your people that know more than you and tell them, be brutally honest. That's what I'm doing on my next film. Don't know anything. I'm going to learn from you. How do we tackle this? And use that kind of collaboration. Have that kind of. I always tell them, come to me with your ideas versus me going this way because my vision only extends to what's written on the page. How to tackle what's on the page sometimes I don't have whether it's a special effects horror thing, bloody thing through the eye versus a fight scene. My mind doesn't work that way. I don't have that kind of background, so I just say get those people. That's my best advice for any filmmaker, actually, is just get the right people in place and empower them to bring your vision, which is on the page, to actual execution.
I love this slow-mo shot. The three of them just slow, like it's just such a cool shot.
I think it's in the trailer, right?
To the
I feel like
big,
trailer.
yeah, to the big reveal.
Such an interesting, they do a really cool spot. And this has got to be all Johnny and the DP because none of this is in the script in terms of the stylization and all that stuff. Very trailer moment, very yeah, it's a really cool shot.
Now, has there been a moment in something you've written that someone else has directed, and you were like, "That is not how I saw that at all."
Almost this entire movie. No. And I mean that with the utmost respect to John. No, I think there's with the way it was written, and I've told Johnny this too. We thought this would be very gritty, very dark, very like again, Seven is always the go-to for serial killer things, and this has kind of aesthetically, it's very beautifully shot, so it has kind of this gloss to it in the sense that it has like this big feel to it, big Hollywood feel to it. And I think it's a stylized choice. It's beautifully shot. My mind though, I was thinking very gritty, very just
See, there's
dark.
the word. See, there's the word spread out. It's the first time that we've seen it.
Yeah, and that's the girl from the porch, and then the chase scene, and then
Yeah, from the beginning. Yeah.
No, all Johnny's watching this. Jokes aside, but no, I mean this is anything. Honestly, anytime someone takes a script and directs it, that's not me. It's going to be different than how I saw it in my mind. It's just how it is, good or bad.
Yeah.
And I think Johnny did a great job with this.
Yeah, I'm really digging it so far.
I think part of it is like the weight of having this cast too. It's almost unsustainable in terms of like expectations. The moment you have a Pacino movie, it's like, oh, it's got to be Godfather. Like it becomes like this tongue-in-cheek thing, but it's true. Unless it's The Godfather.
I didn't hear that. I hadn't heard that from the last maybe 4, 5, 6 movies. From Pacino.
Yeah.
I've heard everybody's been talking about the last movie that he's done. Like the Irishman or what have you. Same thing with De Niro. I don't hear the all the old movies he's done that he's got famous for. Now I hear, the same thing, the Irishman or the Alto Nights. Yeah.
But flip it
It's
for
almost
film,
like-
right? Like the Sixth Sense, right? M. Night Shyamalan is forever tied to the Sixth Sense. Like he peaked when you have such an amazing movie. Everything is going to be, and some of his other stuff is great, but it's always. And Tarantino is another one. I mean, when you come out with Reservoir Dogs and then Pulp Fiction, everything is always tied to that, always compared to that, and that's not fair because they're very different films that he's doing.
I always get tied to with Tarantino. I always get tied to Kill Bill though.
Yes, yeah, I'm always going to go back to Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. That's just my thing. But again, like the moment you hear Al Pacino film, the level of expectation just goes through the roof. It doesn't matter what the budget is. If anyone else but Al was in this film, I feel like the reviews would have been through the roof, even with his performance. It's nothing to do with him. It's just the expectations are just outrageous.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Because I was talking earlier about, like, let's say top 10 serial killer films. Charles and I have talked about this, modesty aside. It's like, where do you rank Hangman in that? Is it top 10? Is it whatever? And if you try and list that are better, you don't have to answer a rhetorical question, but I'm just saying, like, but the expectations, the moment that Pacino's in it, all of a sudden it's like, well, if it's not the best, it's the worst. And again, people have said this is the worst film they've ever seen. I'm like,
really?
You're really not watching any films because that's
I guess they don't go outside very much,
or on any streaming platform, and it's just nuts to me. But
well, just roll me an Al out there. We'll tell them about bad movies.
Oh, I can tell you about bad movies. Yeah,
but even bad movies are good. Like there's some good parts of bad. Like sometimes movies are so bad that they're good, and I love that about bad movies. I love that about.
Sometimes there's not. I mean, we have 3 directors that we could bring up right now that, man. See, to me, I always look at improvement. Like I can understand someone having a hard time for the first movie or being a little bit.
Good way to look at it.
Yeah, but if there's no progression,
yeah, if they're continuing the same thing, that I get, that I understand. I like to think as a filmmaker and as a writer, as a human being, I want to progress and be better with each passing moment. But I guess if you're stuck in your ways, then yeah.
So that room that they walked in here, that was the room where his wife got killed in. He recreated the room and the set. Oh, that's terrible.
The wife dying actually. Did I say this? Yeah, that actually was done during a camera test. Actually, I think before they started filming, and it turned out so well that they used it in actual film. Nice. Karl was there, so I guess they were doing a camera test for Karl, but at least that's what Johnny told me. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I always find this fascinating because, like, it's on the page, like what we're writing, and then you see like the art department and Johnny's vision, and, like what's on the walls and how they actually bring that to life. I find that pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Like the actual location itself, the blood, the pictures, that all that's open to interpretation, and I find that interesting.
We got Jerry Wilson in the house. Hello, how are you?
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
Let's see. Tom saying it's great that John Carpenter got his star finally.
It is great.
It is, even though he paid for it. But whatever.
Yeah. How much? I think they paid like I think it cost him like $3,200 for a star.
Is it that little? We should all get our stars tomorrow. Let's
No, I
do
think it's
it.
like 30,000.
Oh, 30,000. All
Really?
right.
Yeah, I think it's like
Is it
30.
up to- it used to be like honestly, it used to be like hundreds of dollars. I thought it
No,
was
it's
three
like
thousand.
Well,
no.
give me a few more movies, and I'll pay for all three of us. We'll get our stars.
Hell
There
yeah.
you go. There we go. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom said, "Al, still looking good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much." Oh, for a man in his 80s. Oh, all right. Sorry.
Uh,
Carpenter did a movie called, I don't want to say it's like Asylum or something, but that was the early, going back to Sydney Sweeney.
the
That was
ward.
early,
Ward?
The Ward.
The war. Yeah.
Early Sydney Sweeney plays the young version of whatever the lead actress is. I think that's one of Sydney Sweeney's first roles.
Oh, nice.
Little known fact.
I'm gonna dig that out too. See who
The Ward is I actually really like that movie.
I need to watch that again. I saw it when it first came out, and that's the only time I've seen it.
Yeah, very underrated Carpenter movie. It's interesting because he doesn't do a lot of movies, so I thought,
I think
No,
it's
he's been
still
doing-
his
he's
most
been
recent,
doing,
I believe.
he's been doing scores. He did
I
one
know,
for a short film.
but Carpenter, the Ward was probably what, 20 years, 15 years ago, maybe at this point.
Yeah,
Maybe?
2011, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been
So yeah, it was a good while ago.
So like this kind of stunt scene right here, like as a director would freak me out to do. So I would make sure I have like the best fight stunt coordinator, and
Yeah.
I would just back off honestly because this kind of stuff makes me paranoid. I've done a lot of it in my films and TV shows. I just have very little to do with it because it just scares me.
Let's see, Indie Fandom says Pulp Fiction and Goodfellas, I think, are the two of the most influential movies. You can see the influences for decades.
It's true.
I can't argue with that.
I think it's very true.
You see, Scarface, Miami Vice obviously took elements from that film. I can see that.
Oh, interesting. Miami, yeah.
I can see that.
I think you're right. Yeah, Miami Vice. I actually rewatched that series. It's really fun to watch up and coming stars.
Oh my gosh, that's a great series for that.
But yeah, same thing. And then I watched 21 Jump Street for the same reason. Not for the same reason. Like you see the same thing. A lot of fun. Those shows.
You saw a few people like that in Spencer for Hire too. Like that's the first time I think that's the first time Steven Jackson was on. Had been cast.
You could do that with almost any show, but it's always interesting. I thought Miami Vice held up really well considering when it was made.
It was still. I still think it could have kept going. I'm at a commercial. I still think it could have been going, but they fell into that same old trap. When a star breaks out, and then they focus everything on him, and that's what really happened with that. And to tell you the truth, Crockett and Tubbs weren't even the best character in that whole series. They were second in their series because there was nobody better than Cruz.
Then who?
Lieutenant Cruz.
Oh yeah.
Lieutenant Castillo. Oh my God, Castillo was awesome. Edward James Olmos. Yeah.
Legend.
That guy would say like a couple of words, and that's all he needed to say.
But that man's a legend.
He really is.
Absolute legend.
But they did too many plots around Don Johnson, and I think that really hurt the show.
That's what happens when and that's the mercy of and the same thing with 21 Jump Street. If you watch it, it's like Johnny Depp was like fighting against like the stardom, and like everyone was going like, oh no, that's the star. So it's like this weird dichotomy of like the star fighting against the beast. It's such a bizarre thing, but the show's interesting.
Yeah, the 21 Jump Street was supposed to be Richard Greco's big time, and then Johnny Depp took over, and then they spun off Greco to get him off the show, to try to break him there, but he never went. And then Depp
flip it. It was Depp first, and then Greco took over after. But
and then Depp ended up doing Nightmare on Elm Street, and that was the end of there you go.
Are you back? So this is like are you with like the killer with Brittany at this point? Both of you guys?
Yeah, I'm at
120?
120, 122.
All right. So this was like, not to ruin it for you, Al, but Al, and viewing. At some point, the detectives will come. I'll just say that. And this was like Pacino's focus in the entire movie. He was specific about everything. What was this? What was this? Even parts that had nothing to do with him. But this kind of climactic scene, if you will, his speech, his monologue that's coming up. Not this part, but when it gets to him and the killer, he was very focused on that. It was like the most manic thing. Not manic, it's not the right word, but he was very driven to have this speech be what it was, to the point of like just rewriting and just going and going, and like it was what he was like really focused on. And then like again, not to bite the hand that feeds me, there was like a butting of heads during the filming because Al was like trying to like work through some things, and then producers and time and money, they were saying like we got to go, and Al was like trying to work through some things. So there's some interesting but watch this, Al, because this is like kind of putting pieces together and talking over it, so sorry.
And there's a lot of churches in that city.
Mm-hmm.
St. Catherine, St. Joseph, St. Christian.
St. Michael, St. Anthony's.
That kind of sounds like down here. Every we have parishes. They're like counties, and like there's St. James, St. John, St. Charles, St. Yeah, but you're right. Brittany's killing it in this movie.
Yeah, he really is.
And again, like if you can see what she had on the page versus what she brings to the table, that's even like as a I became a director after this film, but I'm like just so impressed because I'm like, wow, the other adage of like there's no small parts thing, just small act. She just does such a great job.
And Joe Anderson is fantastic. I've seen him in quite a few things, and he's always top notch.
I was really excited when they cast him.
Is he typecast as the killer all the time? I don't really remember him in anything.
He was in a show called
Outsiders.
The Outsiders. Thank you.
Freaking fabulous freaking show.
With Karl,
he was like the great guy in that one.
Yeah, so that's the one that has Kyle Gallner and Opie from Sons of Anarchy, whose name is escaping me. That's that one. Is that the one where they're like out in the middle of the hills and the family?
Yeah, all live in the mountain. Yeah.
That's why I knew.
Yeah, that's fantastic show. If you can get your hands on that show, check it out. It's only 2 seasons, but it's so worth it.
It's a great show.
I remember it came out on WGN. It was like one of their.
It was a very weird network. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Kyle and I have talked over the years. I want to work with Kyle on something a lot. He's another one whose career, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake was supposed to make his career into the exact opposite. But love Kyle. I was glad that Smile was such a big hit for him.
Yeah.
Such a great guy. Would love to work with him. But that's where I knew Joe from. Yeah. I didn't know him personally, but that's where I recognized him from.
Yeah. So good. Very underrated, I think, too.
Fantastic show. And what's the Morse, or what's the main guy? Morse something that plays like the main.
Oh, David Morse. Yeah, David Morse. Yeah.
For which one?
On the Outsiders.
Oh, was he in the Outsiders?
Yeah.
He's like not the.
I remember David Morse. 50s, I remember first time I saw David Morse. He was in Saint Elsewhere, and then he did The Long Kiss Goodnight. And then he popped up.
Outsiders is the TV show, not the movie.
Not the base. The book.
Not the Essie Hinton. not
that Dylan and Stapleton.
Pony Boy. Yeah.
which is also a fantastic movie.
It is. and very accurate to the book too.
It is very accurate. Very, very good movie.
Mm.
Have you adapted any stories, or is most of the stuff you do is original?
Nothing that's got made. I've been hired to adapt a few books that have never come to fruition in terms of like actually being made.
Mhm.
I actually did the reverse. I had a script that I made into my first novel.
Oh, nice.
It was a lot of fun. But yeah, nothing like I had an IP that I had to adapt. No, I get hired a lot for like ghost jobs where it's like, here's my idea, write it, you get no credit,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
fine. There's a few movies that have been made that way, but it's that sometimes that's fun because it's very liberating and free. And okay, it's your idea, and let me run it, and do it. But as far as like taking a book, I've done it a few times. It's never gotten made, which is I don't know, that's the process.
Oh, there we go. Outsiders is on too.
I
Perfect.
didn't know that. I need to.
Yeah. Everybody go watch it. It's excellent show. I can't recommend it enough.
There's a Patrick. There's a Romeo and Juliet girl on the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah.
Similar to the Outsiders of the book itself, where Kyle Gallner is in love with a girl from town. Like it's very really well done.
Isn't Kyle? I think you do. I think he did A Haunting in Connecticut, didn't he?
He did. That's the same guy.
Yep.
So
Yep.
acting forever. But he did. Nightmare on Elm Street remake. He did The Outsiders. He did.
Man. That wasn't his fault. The remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's a whole other. I mean, if you hear the stories for that it's such an interesting. So my mentor, you get a mentor when you join the WGA. My mentor was the writer of the remake, and to hear his stories about that movie is interesting.
Oh, I bet.
Was it his idea? Was it his idea to cast Jackie Earl Haley?
Was it his idea? What?
Was it his idea to cast Jackie Earl Haley as Freddy?
No, I don't think writers ever get that kind of pull. But no, there's none of his. I won't kiss and tell. It's just interesting to see how films get made. I'll just say that it's just interesting.
Man, he used wire to hang up all his victims. That's hard to get out. Once you put all that weight to shoot that wire clean.
Yep.
You always see them get shot by ropes and they shoot the rope, but wire is so much worse.
So this is Al's. This is the speech that kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It was the only time I saw Al mad. Not mad, but he wasn't
passionate.
Wasn't loving this dialogue. It kept going back and forth, but
and the mausoleum is giving me like Phantasm vibes too.
And that's not in the script. That's a complete location scout or Johnny somebody. They found it and then they're like, let's wrap it around this great location. And I think that's a very smart filmmaking decision. Of course, it's a great location, but that definitely was not in the script. This was supposed to take place in a barn. In the middle of nowhere. That was originally the first draft, or not the first draft, but the draft that we originally gave to Al at some point.
Yeah, that definitely would have been a different vibe.
For sure. See, I was bummed out with the ending. Because I was thinking I would have loved to see these two guys go at it, go again. I would have loved to see a sequel because all three of them work so well together.
Yeah.
Well, it's Hollywood. Anything can happen now. We can just bring everybody back to life.
It's true.
As zombies and stuff.
Well, look at the Fast and the Furious movie. They killed off like 2 or 3 of their main characters, and they all come back.
And no,
they didn't really die.
I stopped watching on 7, I think. Whatever the one was, like a car jumped from one skyscraper to another.
Yes.
That must have been was that Latin he wrote on the wall there?
I don't know.
I think it is Latin, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because there's a Latin tie to the thing, yeah.
Yeah, I just recently sat through all of the Fast and the Furious movies, so.
I'm a huge fan of the first one. Huge fan. Love it. I actually like 2. I like 3 as well. Then I go, it's run its course. Yeah, that's total Latin at that point.
Yeah, kind of when The Rock came in, that was like, that's all right.
It just becomes like popcorn and so big.
Yeah. Oh, the last couple are almost unwatchable because they're so insane.
Yeah, but that's part of the process, I guess. But again, the first one I thought was just a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed it. It's a guilty pleasure for me, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, first couple are great. Oh,
And I thought the sound design for this was really good, and the composer is a guy named Jan Wellman, I think his name is. Some really interesting. I thought he was a really great composer, and I think his sound design, whether that's an editor's choice or I don't know who's doing the sound design. I think there's some great, interesting quirks that film.
I like that old picture they found of him too to use.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have that pamphlet. I have that. Like this is where we went to go film. It was so cold that day. So that like flyer brochure or whatever, I still have that. I saw it the other day, actually. You'll see it. People are holding like this pamphlet for the memorial or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It does look cold. It does look cold.
It has that same picture on the cover of it.
Nice.
Kind of like a little memento. But this was a cemetery off of Martin Luther King Boulevard in Atlanta.
Mm.
And this was so cold. That's all I can think of was how cold this place was. Again, I think Johnny and the DP did such a great job visually. I think there's some great takeaways in this film. Really, really did a great job.
Uh-oh, copycatter.
Uh-oh. Like how he takes the glass. He's like, damn it.
Can I at least get a minute to rest up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember Righteous Kill. Came on. I think they did that one right after Heat, where they turned it around. Where De Niro was the bad guy in Heat, and then Pacino was the bad guy in Righteous Kill. I didn't see that, but I heard about that. He also did one called 88 Minutes that was supposed to be very good as well.
You haven't seen either of those movies?
I saw a little bit of 88 Minutes. I know it was done in real time, and but no, I didn't see the other one. The Righteous. I just remember everybody was sitting there, and that's how they compared it to. They said all they did was reverse the characters from Heat.
That's overly simplifying. I mean, people like hate those two movies, but I don't understand the hate. I mean, are they again The Godfather? No, but what is?
No. Yeah, exactly. I thoroughly enjoyed. Hangman. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think hats off to Johnny and all that crew and the DP and everybody. And again, the credit in terms of writing goes to Charles Hutter in terms of the story idea. And yeah, I think it's a lot of fun.
What did you think, Al? How did you like it?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna sit and like watch it fully away from this.
Yeah, very hard.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm not the biggest
crime.
I mean, I like these type of movies, but I'm not the biggest fan of them. But yeah. But no, this one's solid, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of takeaways from it. I think there's some fun part of it. I don't think it deserves like the hate that it got. That's for sure. And then, even if I wasn't, I would say the same thing.
No. No.
But I like it more and more every time I see it. And I told Charles that too. I was talking to him the other day. It seems like, initially it's so hard when you write something and then, Al, you had asked this. It's like when someone else takes your stuff and they do something different, you kind of like your hands are removed the moment that the script is out of your hands. It becomes there's like a level of trust that's just unnatural.
Yeah.
And so it's like this whole thing of like, it's never going to be what's up here. Even when I'm directing stuff from my own stuff, it's still never going to be what's up here.
Right.
But it's even bigger when someone else is taking it. So, but yeah, every time I watch it, I have a new found respect for it, and I love it. I think there's, I think Al's done at the time of this movie. I think there was 77 films that he had done, and one is one that I wrote. I mean, how can you be mad about that? That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's pretty cool. So, looking at the positive side of it, amazing experience. And like you said, Patrick, at the beginning of all this, it was the start of my career and getting me really moving in the right direction. So without it, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So I'm very
I
appreciative.
can't wait for
of us
I
involved.
can't wait for No Tears in Hell. I think people are going to be blown away by that one.
I'm excited. I'm going to get a lot of hate mail too for different reasons. But
But you know what though? That's hate mail in this case in a horror film. That's actually good to have.
well,
That's good.
I do need to, like Patrick, like my kids and stuff are on my Facebook and my Instagram and stuff. I have to pull them off because it's just
Yeah. Well, are you talking about people really not liking the movie?
I'm just talking about people being fanatical about it. So, Al, it's a serial killer movie based off of a true story. I made it into the United States, but back in the '90s, Russian serial killer. It's based on that, on a true story. So, and I didn't pull any punches. I mean, it's very graphic. It's very brutal. It's very it's very hard. I mean, I had a hard time writing it, a hard time filming it, even watching it now after seeing it 6,000 times through the process. I don't know anyone that's going to watch it and go like, yeah, or just it's a hard watch, and I love the genre too, and I'm still like, oh my god, whoever did this is crazy, and that was me. But I think it'll help the career wise. But I think I'm getting to the point, Patrick, where I think my hope is this pops the career selfishly, and then also for everybody else that's involved in the film. So many people did such a great job. You saw it, Patrick. All the actors that are involved. I mean, the casting director, a woman named Debbie Sheridan, just hit it out of the park. I mean, the cast is just outrageously good, and it's a non-union film in terms of like casting and stuff like that. So, and the budget is.
And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun seeing some familiar faces in there. Gabby's in there, and Audrey's in there.
Have you had Tatiana on before? I can't remember. No, I don't think you have.
I've had Tatiana on.
Oh yeah. So Tatiana is in there, who was Purgatory, and then
your main guy is absolutely he's gonna keep a lot of people up at night.
Yeah, Luke Baines. That's my brother watched it too, and he was like, "Who the heck is this lead actor?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I can't even take credit for that. That's the money. The producer, a guy named Alex, who really helped put the film together. It's his baby too. He came up with the story idea and all that stuff. That's he did some casting pieces that I think, and even Gwen. So Gwen Van Dam, who played the mother, recently just passed, Patrick, in December. I didn't realize when she filmed the film with us. And Al, if you see the film, I can send you a cut, by the way, Al, if you like.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Obviously, just keep away. So, but Gwen Van Dam plays the mom. She was 92, Patrick, when she filmed with us. I had no idea.
Wow.
I knew she was older, but 92, and she just.
What's funny is that I had a moment like that too. I was watching. I was watching Return to Mooseport, and I hadn't seen that. I had never seen that movie. I knew it was Gene Hackman's last movie, but I had never watched it. So I started watching it, and all of a sudden I'm looking in there, and I'm going like, "Oh my god!" I did not realize that she was acting way back then either. There was a scene with June Squibb on there.
Really?
Yes, I was like, I thought she has just like come in, like a Johnny come very, 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 very lately. But no, she's been doing that for a long time, and she was in that movie too, and I had no idea. I was like, okay, I just thought she just started acting, but no, she's been doing it for quite a while.
connection. Like I've had two chances to work with Bruce Dern, one as a director and one as a writer. Originally, I was supposed to direct a film called Devil's Trap, which is actually on. You can actually rent Devil's Trap. I think it's out with Bruce Dern and Michael Pray. Something I wrote, but from the same producer as No Tears. And Bruce Dern had like started his career. I think he worked with Montgomery Clift, which is one of my favorite actors ever from back in the day. And I didn't know that because I was on to work with Bruce Dern because I was like, oh, let's hear these stories about this. I can't remember which film it was, but I didn't realize that Gwen Van Damme in No Tears was also like actually close with Montgomery Clift to the point where he was like giving her career advice, and that's like kind of gives me like, had I known that, I didn't realize that Gwen had this like, well, not I don't want to say wealth because clearly she's lived a brilliant life, but I didn't realize like the scope of like, again, the industry is so big, but it's not, and you get these people and it's all interconnected and like trying to know who knows who and the stories that people can tell. And I just find that so fascinating, the wealth of these stories from people that have seen Hollywood progress from years and years. How it's changed.
It's interesting talking to people about the old days, about old Hollywood and these actors. Like they see today's people, how hot-headed some of them are, or big names, and they're always, or they have paparazzi all over them. This is, this has never been like this ever before in Hollywood. You want to sit there and say, "Hold my beer," because you tell people how big, people now when they see Bruce Dern, they really don't think of him as a big star. They see him as lovable grandpa. But you go back there and watch some of his work, and he was an outstanding actor, and he worked very hard, and is very different. And a lot of those actors back then, they were, there's some of their choices that they made. I mean, you don't see a lot of the brave choices like that. And today, everything in casting today is, will it fit everybody's metric? Are we gonna hit everybody's numbers? We got the social media, we got the lovable grandpa pipe, we got the and they just don't that's how they judge actors now. They judge them on what they fit into more than the ability.
But think about it, like someone like Bruce Dern, he was around like when the studio system was like giving like actors like 7-picture deals. And Bruce Stanton was like Harry Dent, legends, exactly. And like you don't see that anymore. Like the 7-picture deal or the 4-picture deal, the studio kind of rises you up. I mean, I watched. You're talking about Montgomery Clift. Like my girlfriend and I watched A Place in the Sun the other day, and it's like, what I find fascinating is that all the films that he was doing, whether it was Suddenly Last Summer or A Place in the Sun, there's an incredibly dark twist to some of these movies. And like, so I have A Place in the Sun poster on my wall from one of my first managers. But it's A Place in the Sun. It's pitched as a love story for the next generation, and it's one of the most morbid stories you'll ever, like, if you watch it, you go like, this is not a love story at all.
No.
Right? Last Summer is him and Elizabeth Taylor again, and it deals with like these really dark themes of like cannibalism and just homosexuality being like in the worst ways. Like it's very dark, and you're like, how were these movies made in the 50s? And then like there's this whole period of like washing of like this. So if you go back and you see some of these movies, they have like a horror element that nobody ever thinks about. Place in the Sun is a dark thriller. Somehow poster pitches it as this like summer fun movie with Elizabeth Taylor and Montgomery Clift, two beautiful actors.
Is that the one where is that the one where they're fighting over Jennifer Jones?
Fighting over who?
Is that the one, Place in the Sun? Is that the one where Jennifer Jones is the girl caught in the middle between Montgomery Clift and his brother?
No. So Place in the Sun is Montgomery Clift comes from kind of like the wrong side of the tracks, but his uncle is very rich, and he's in like this aristocratic kind of like sophisticated high-end society, and Elizabeth Taylor is like a socialite, and Montgomery Clift falls for a girl who is on his financial, economic, social kind of structure, but he realizes Elizabeth Taylor falls in love with him and what he's willing to do to be with, quote unquote, the woman of his life. But like there's a lot of dark, crazy, very Hitchcockian stuff happens, if you will, without running the movie, because you should watch it. I think it's a very brilliant film. But again, like the advertisement, going back to marketing, which apparently has never changed. The poster says like the love story for the new generation, and I'm thinking like, yeah, this isn't like How to Lose a Guy in a Thousand Days or whatever. Like the like Matthew McConaughey with his shirt off. It's none of that.
Right.
It's very dark. It's like today's. If you were to redo A Place in the Sun, it would be a dark horror, not horror, but dark thriller movie right now. It's really weird. So, but to think about like going back to like Bruce Dern and Gwen Van Damme and these actors that have seen this projection of Hollywood and they've seen all that stuff. And really quick, and we can talk about this when I'm on for No Tears. There's a scene in No Tears when Gwen is, how do I say this? This won't ruin. Maybe it'll ruin. Gwen's doing something very, very not. Well, you wouldn't see her doing it. So again, it's a serial killer movie. It's a horror movie. And she turns in the middle of the take. She turns to camera and she goes, "Well, in all my career, I can say this is a first." And then turns back and goes back to what she said. And all of us are just laughing. And again, I didn't realize she was 92. But this is a woman, you know, she just hit it out of the park. So I think horror and filmmaking in general, it brings people like all of the three of us together, and it brings everybody who's watching and people that watch horror. I mean, we all know this. The horror genre in general is like,
You know, you're right. I'll say I think horror draws movies fans more together than any other genre.
it's the most rabid fan. It just is like, you know, it's just
Yeah.
it's such a love fest between people that are all walks of life, and that's the thing I always appreciate. Is what's always drawn me to it. It's always inspired me in terms of filmmaking, in terms as a writer as a whole. It's like you can find someone from any country in the world. And again, like my second movie or first movie, I forget when it came out. You know, it's a Spanish movie. It was translated by a brilliant director. It's called Sin Origin. I don't think it's even available in the States, but you know, his name's Rigo. He's the director. I mean, he and I have become close friends since the production. But here's two people that we have different languages that are first languages, and we come together and we just make this movie together. And I think that's the beautiful part of filmmaking in general, or just films in general, entertainment in general. But horror, for whatever reason, has this next level kind of thing. I just think it's such a beautiful genre. I'll always, I don't care if I sell out and I do studio movies, I'm still going to come back to horror because it's a beautiful genre. Just there's something about it.
And and I also find that within the horror genre, the people that do it seem to be the nicest.
Right.
Oh,
That's the other part.
100%. Like some of the
Yeah.
sweetest human beings, and they're the scariest, or they're like because that's
Yep.
you know what it is. It's like we're all on some level we're all either or nerds or outcasts or just misunderstood people, and it's like you know I think at the end of the day it's the one thing that you can wear that we're all wearing the same face. We're all just like kind of in the love for the story, and I think that's the beauty of it. You know, and I grew up reading Stephen King, and you know I think he's the antithesis of a guy who I mean, he's a legend. He's a genius. He's a multi-millionaire. You know, he's a very successful guy. On the street, he would seem like someone you would just pass over, or you know, it's just. It doesn't matter. I mean, horror. I think that's the thing. Horror is all encompassing too. I think that's the one genre where it doesn't. You don't have to be the most talented, the most beautiful. Like if you have a story to tell, and also the successes in horror make no sense. It doesn't matter if the budget's 50 million or $5,000. There's still like these weird you know, ask Paramount back in the 70s, late 70s, when Friday the 13th came out. It was like they were embarrassed about it, but it kept the studio afloat. I mean, it saved the entire studio, and they keep making Friday the 13th movies. And but I think that's the beauty of horror, and that's why I keep going back to it. And I just also, you know, there's an adrenaline rush. There's also this thing where like you want to see something where it's safe, we can watch it. We all have like these weird we want to go and see what's like kind of creepy and scary. I used to work in a library when I was like in my like 14, 15. And like I was always looking at the serial killer stuff and just finding it fascinating because I don't want to be those people. I don't want to know those people, but I want to know of those people. I just find it fascinating. And no disrespect to the victims and their families. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but there's just something interesting about the dark side of humanity that I think.
Oh, well, America is just. I mean, even now, you know, the YouTube thing, it's fascinating. It's fascinated by crime. It's fascinating by crime on all levels. Lately, the last 3 months, my YouTube channel, my feed, and I had no idea how it started, but I watched a few of them, but I don't know how it started. but it started feeding these feeds about all these cop arrests.
Yeah.
Valerie and Katie were they're looking for something to do for a podcast, Al, and I had actually told Valerie, says, this is before I found out. But I told her, says, well, what you could do is you could get one of those freedom of information channels going. You just you email your police, and you email your ask them for a day of tape off of an officer, and then you can make your own, because they show these people getting busted for all these petty ass shit.
Right.
But it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. People love that sort of shit. They love crime.
Yeah, because it's safe to view it versus doing it, right? I think that's part of it. It's like the fascination of it, and I think also it's escapism, all those things too. As a kid, I always think of like I keep going back to Stephen King, because like you can pick up any of his books and it's just just completely lost in a world that's, I don't know what the next page is going to be like, and I love that. I think that's kind of, as a filmmaker, I always want to try and do that, in the sense that like there's a formulaic aspect to filmmaking, in the sense that like this is supposed to happen here and this is supposed to happen here. But if you can do something that's familiar but also unique enough that the people are going to come back, or at least watch it a second time, I think that's the goal. But it's, I'm telling stories first and foremost because I need to tell stories. Like I don't have a plan B. Like this is my life. I want to tell stories for the rest of my life, and I'd rather be poor and eating ramen noodles if I had to still be a filmmaker or a novelist, or just something that tells a story.
Right.
I would love to be financially successful. That's obviously like a benefit to it, but I never got into this to go like, oh, I'm not going to have a big house in Melbourne. That wasn't why I did it. I mean, it's important. Now I have children and stuff, so my mindset's a little bit different, but I think, I just think filmmaking is general, and that's why I think what brings the three of us together, and the podcasts and films, like I would love to continue to do this with you guys, and I appreciate being on this podcast and spending time with you both, and
it's so much fun having you. It's so much fun having you, because you get such good insight, and it was just an absolute blast. And we'll come back and do it again. Like I said, I got two other people doing it, and then Al's going to jump in here, and he's going to jump in here too. And people. I mean, because I was sitting there poking fun at watch parties, but the thing is, though, I was looking at other people do watch parties until I realized that Al, you and I have an edge, and some people do as I've done it the same way too, and that is. The edge is that we actually know people that can sit there and talk with us about, during
the movies, right? Yeah.
I mean, it'd be one thing you and I can sit here and talk about it, but that's just everybody.
It's even better when we have the actual,
Right. So it's really cool to come in and have have someone come on in, and like I'm excited to when Jesse comes. We're gonna have Jesse on here, and then you're coming for that too.
You're gonna have Jesse Johnson on?
Oh my God, yes, he's gonna come in sooner or later.
Oh, great! All right, well, I want to watch that. Which film are you gonna watch? Avengement or?
You know what? I might go with Avengement.
Avengement just made. I just saw because Nick Donnemeyer worked for Blyberg at the time. I think did sales, but Avengement was the first Scott Adkins movie that my brother and I both love that movie. But Jesse just posted something recently. I think in the last day or two. Avengement made like the top 10 best action movies over the last 10 years. I just saw it on Facebook today. So Avengement, those ones, it's starting. The audience is still there for that movie, so that would be my recommendation. I think it's.
I tell you one thing. I have to sit there. I'll give credit for action martial arts fans too. There's one thing that they, and it's true. There's one thing that they like. They like to see they like to see their stars get better too. Like I like watching Scott Adkins, but I don't like seeing Scott Adkins doing the same movie over and over. I feel bad for Scott. Yeah, he's getting a lot of money, but honestly, if he told Scott Adkins, listen, I'm giving you $10,000 to go out there and get your ass kicked by Doctor Strange, versus $100,000 to go out there and do another crime show in London. Rest assured, he's going to go ahead and get his ass beat by Stephen Strange. he wants to advance. He wants to get out there. He wants to be seen other than what he has been. You know,
Yeah.
and there,
Scott's
and
he's a very good guy.
there's
Ask Jesse what he wants to do. But my vote, if you're just asking me, this is a fan. Avengement would be cool. But I don't know Jesse's last film either. So maybe he's got something new.
oh gosh, he's got Station the Chief, but I'm not sure when that's coming out. I mean, I'm not sure. I think it's hitting like Amazon. So, and as far as I understood, it did really well over there. So I don't think it'll be over here quite yet. But I want to see Station the Chief, Chief of Station, because he's been working a lot with Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, that's the Aaron Eckhart one. You're right. Yeah,
He's been doing a lot of work with him lately. Aaron has just morphed into an action star.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, before he did a lot of dramas, a lot of heavy dramas, but he just segued away into action, and fans love it.
I saw him. He was really young in the Sean Penn directed and helmed The Pledge with
Jack Nicholson.
I watched that the other day, and I was like, Aaron Eckhart looks like a baby in this film. Like, it was so
he was a baby in Nurse Betty. He did Nurse Betty.
Yeah. But The Pledge had Benicio del Toro too, really early in his career as well. It's very a great cast. Doesn't surprise me. It's a Sean Penn film because Sean Penn's Indian Runner, I think, had it wasn't Aaron Eckhart. It was Viggo Mortensen too. So I've been revisiting a lot of Sean Penn films for some reason lately. I don't know why. That's my thing. Apparently, Call of the Wild. I mean, Into the Wild. That's a go-to for. It's always a great film. But
that guy's had a fascinating career
and a fascinating life too.
No one ever saw. There's not a single person that after seeing Fast Times that would have said that Sean Penn's career would have ended up the way it did for watching that movie.
Very similar to Ben Affleck's career though too, right? You never would have suspected after Dazed and Confused that the bully would be this brilliant director, writer, and then here he is. He's an amazing filmmaker, I think. Better director, I think, than actor, which is great.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, never would have guessed that. And Dazed and Confused is all-time favorite of mine. So, anyways, I'm going to run, gents.
No problem.
For both, Al. It's great meeting you and
absolutely same to you, my friend.
Patrick.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back. We'll stay in touch, and I'll just send you a note if you want to hang out with us. You can.
Yeah, please do. And then Al, send me Al's email, and I'll send him the movie we've been talking about.
Yeah,
sure. Do that. I think me and Al, we're gonna be doing one here soon. We're gonna probably be doing we're gonna get the Nat back into this because I want to do Clash of the Titans. When we do that, you'll be really entertained by that. I promise you. All right, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Thank you guys all for coming out. We'll be back here. Wait a minute, Al, I should ask you this, Al. What's going on your channel this week?
I'm working on a part 2 of the Turksploitation movies that I did last week, which is like blown up. And if you haven't watched the original Turksploitation video, please go watch it. It's awesome.
I love those Turk exploitation movies are a hoot. We'll be back here. We'll be back here on Sunday as the ISC crew gets together for a special show. We're going to be rewatching and discussing Hunter x Hunter with Camille Sullivan and Devin Sawa and Nick Stahl. I missed it the first time out, but I really wanted to see and talk about it, so we are. The next week we will be back on the 27th. Well, during the week we'll be back too, but on the 27th, the ISC show, we'll be hanging out with Mary Wilson here, and we'll be talking about Devil's Gate, which is
nice.
That's
a great movie.
Yeah, it is. All right, thank you guys for your support. We'll talk at you guys soon. Peace.
Thank you guys. Cheers.
Cheers.